It's another Texas Motor Speedway finish. Jeff Ward has won by 11 thousandths of a second.
Why do I get the distinct impression that TKD's a lesson in how to do this?
3 wide down the back straightaway. Now they're trying to go 4 wide.
3 wide, you're in the middle.
Side by side, wheel to wheel at 210 miles an hour.
Inside now. Colton Hill. No way. Wow, what a save. Rahal and Hinchcliffe to the line. Brad Rahal has won
8 thousandths of a second.
Scott Dixon wins back-to-back years and wins at Texas Motor Speedway.
With action like that over the years, Texas Motor Speedway is the gift that keeps on giving for IndyCar fans, for sure. As we welcome you to the second leg of this doubleheader weekend, this is the XPEL 375 here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's a longer race today, and it is a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Fort Worth, Texas. Low 80s, there's a light breeze, and we're ready to go racing. I don't know about you, but we love these double-header IndyCar weekends. Hi, folks. Welcome. Lee Diffie, along with Townsend Bell and Paul Tracy, set to go again. But first up, we want to show you the championship points, Townsend, because there has been some fluctuation, some movement after last night's 212-lap race.
It's early in the season, and there's always big movement with big results. But look down to 7th in the championship after 3 races. Scott McLaughlin, the rookie, out of New Zealand, a 3-time Supercar champion, but his first ever oval race last night. Guy comes home second. Legitimately, it wasn't luck, it wasn't fuel mileage. He did it all on merit. What a fast learner, and you see it paid off in the points.
Well, it's trouble and bad news for guys like Hunter Ray and Alexander Rossi. The Scott Dixon train is on the tracks, and it is rolling right now. These guys really got to have a good day today as we go now into the month of May. This is a big month for these guys.
3 races down, 3 different winners, all Honda-powered cars. We'll see if that trend continues here this afternoon. If you weren't able to be with us last night, let's bring you up to speed with what went down. Alex Palou started on the pole position, the Barber Motorsports Park winner, but on the 3rd lap of the race, his Chip Ganassi teammate Scott Dixon rounded him up for the lead.
Big move to the outside. Dixon had the car, wanted to go early, but Diff, let's fast forward lap 56. That's Joseph Newgarden in the yellow car into the back of Sebastian Bourdais in the black rocket car. Bourdais into the wall. Luckily escapes uninjured, but not so much for that AJ Foyt racing car. And then later, Paul, this happens.
Yeah, James Hinchcliffe gets up high. Felix Rosenquist goes around the outside of him. He gets into that PJ1, and he just loses his car. But look at this. Teammates, kind of teammates. Alexander Rossi gets pushed into the grass. He was a little upset about that. And then Colton Herta had a weird brake fire. We still don't know the complete cause of that, but that was very odd. But Dixon in charge all night.
As he has been 4 other times to make this his 5th victory at Texas Motor Speedway. Gets the 6 shooters and the cowboy hat as well. Will he keep that winning run going today? Well, he starts on the pole position. Need to add, too, that we did not have any qualifying this weekend. Rain affected. The schedule had to be massaged, so they are starting in entrance points positions after last night's race.
Scott Dixon now on the point, everything going the way he wants it to go. But Jack Harvey, big jump in the points last night, great run. Newgarden recovered really nicely last night after getting that penalty, so he'll be strong today.
You know, looking back to the next set of rows on the next slide there, row 6 through 10. How about Tony Kanaan making his first start of the season? He's with Chip Ganassi Racing, same car as Scott Dixon up front that was so fast last night. Kanaan could make a big move early. I'll be curious to see if he wants to test that PJ1 groove that's so narrow down in turn 1 and start on the high side. Meanwhile, Hunter Ray and Hinchcliffe, those Andretti drivers, they need a result tonight.
Yes, it was a rough experience last night for Michael Andretti's men, for sure. Townsend mentioned Scott McLaughlin. With more on the Kiwi, here's Dave Burns.
Well, Lee, a multi-car organization like Team Penske with lots of corporate partners is always looking for that next driver who's going to fill the seat and be the future of the organization. They thought they might have it in Scott McLaughlin. I believe last night they found that for sure Scott McLaughlin will be the guy. Second place in his first ever oval race of any kind, and that was in a 220-mile-per-hour IndyCar right here at Texas Motor Speedway. Scott was over the moon with the victory. Team Penske very impressed with what he did, and the series certainly has to be put on notice now about what this young rookie might do in the remaining races of this season. The one thing that he didn't do was make a lot of mistakes on track and irk other drivers. Marty, that can be a problem for a rookie, and Scott was clean all night long.
Well, Dave, Jack Harvey took care of all the irking of other drivers on the racetrack. In fact, for this driver from the UK, there were two separate situations on the track. We saw that a moment ago. It was a nice finish for Harvey, but these two incidents really made other drivers unhappy. One of them including his corporate teammate Alexander Rossi. You see Harvey in the pink car push that Napa car all the way down almost to the grass. Rossi did not like this move at all. And then just a couple of laps later, he did the same thing on the backstretch to Graham Rahal. Here he is pushing the 15 car all the way to the bottom. Now, I talked to all three drivers involved in this, and all three of them told me, you know what, we're good. We talked about it last night. Harvey was called to the IndyCar trailer to talk to stewards. There you see Graham Rahal going in the trailer. Harvey told me, I learned that I'm not going to back down, though. I will back down a little bit from what I did last night. I may not do that last little 5% of a move, but I'm not going to back down. People still treat us like we're a part-time team. We're not. We deserve to run in the top 5. So, Lee, don't look for Jack Harvey to change his style 1 ounce today.
Yeah, he's standing firm. I spoke to his team boss last night as well, and he agrees with that stance. So look for Meyer Shank Racing to continue their upward momentum. Well, we've seen it here in the United States, and we're seeing it more around the world. It is great to have fans back at a live sporting event. If you are familiar with New Zealand's native bird, the kiwi, you know that they cannot fly, but a couple of their countrymen most certainly did last night. Scott Dixon, 51st career win, and his 5th here at Texas Motor Speedway. And the younger version in Scott McLaughlin followed him home in second. It was the first time in IndyCar history there have ever been 2 New Zealanders finish on the podium in an IndyCar race, and they came home 1-2. It's almost time to get things going. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to get the... Please welcome tonight's Grand Marshal, XPEL Chief Executive Officer Ryan Pate and XPEL Executive Team.
On behalf of the entire XPEL team, drivers, start your engines!
So we've made a big deal about the rookies, the interesting rookies in this year's NTT IndyCar Series with Romain Grosjean, Jimmy Johnson, and that man there, Scott McLaughlin. What did it feel like when he came across the line to get his first career podium?
You're an IndyCar oval racer now.
Woo! McLaughlin gets his first career podium on his first career oval.
Great job. Awesome day. Done, boys. Thank you so much. P2. Yes.
I've never been this bloody happy second. It was cool battling with my all-time hero, Scotty Dixon.
The New Zealand sporting public have gone pretty crazy for this young man and Scott Dixon in what they accomplished here last night. I was talking to Scott McLaughlin a little earlier today. He said, Diff, when I finally got back to the hauler after the post-race commitments, I had 250 text messages on my phone. It took me 2 hours to answer everybody back. I felt like I owed them that. It was quite the night. So, now that the cars roll, we're going to try and talk to the man himself. Townsend, take it away.
Well, 250 text messages and 1 conversation with the booth. Let's see how this goes. Hey, Scotty, it's Townsend Bell up at the NBC booth. You got me?
And how you going?
Real good, bud. What a day yesterday. Sensational result. I mean, it looked like you've been doing this for 10 years on the high banks here at Texas. I'm sure you're thrilled, but how bizarre to win a race. I mean, how big can you celebrate when you got another one less than 24 hours later?
You don't celebrate too hard. A couple of FaceTimes with Mum and Dad and my wife, and yeah, I'm really proud of everyone at PPG and Team Chevy for giving me a great car. And, yeah, I think we've got another shot today to have another crack, but we had great strategy. That's what it's going to take today, and no mistakes, and that's the main thing, have another solid run.
Well, you ticked lots of boxes. Podium, first oval result up there as well. First oval race under the bag. Do you have the car and the experience, more importantly, you think, to take it to Dixon tonight?
Definitely don't have the experience, but that'll come, if I'm being honest. But I've got the car, I've got the team, and I can only build from here, so I'll just try to be as methodical as I can be and just work up to it. We'll be okay, but yeah, all good.
All right, well, good luck. Have fun out there.
Boys, thank you.
Taking it all in his stride, one step at a time, is Scott McLaughlin, and McLaughlin starts back on the 4th row here this afternoon. Time to take a closer look at the Texas Motor Speedway with today's Honda Track Preview.
On board with Graham Rahal, thanks to Honda. Just going through the tri-oval here, Paul, and you'll hear the term PJ1 a lot tonight, most likely from me and Paul. Paul, talk us through what PJ1 is all about, especially as Graham comes to turn 1.
Well, it's a coating that they put down on the track, and you see it right there. It's all black, and it looks like it's rubber laid down, but they use it for the NASCAR series to enhance passing. But it just does not seem to work for the Indy cars. I don't know if it's because of the downforce level or the tire construction, but it's super slippery for the Indy cars, so it makes it really difficult for those guys to get up there. But we're ready to rock and roll now, Lee. Take it away.
This is the XPEL 375. It's an all Chip Ganassi Racing front row. Scott Dixon in that orange and blue PNC car. Look at Will Power in the black and red Verizon car. Ready?
Green.
Big crash.
Spinning out the back. We're going to yellow.
Daly, Fittipaldi.
Daly's upside down, I believe.
That was a real slow start. Guys started spinning their tires up. Daly's right side up now, but this is devastating for these guys here at the back.
Bourdais in it, 2 crashes in 2 days. Connor Daly, he's had a wild ride here before many years ago, and he's just taken another one.
I saw Connor upside down, and as he was sliding, I thought to myself, oh yeah, the aero screen. Thank goodness for the aero screen. Connor moving in the cockpit, steering wheel comes off.
You can see it dug into the grass right there, and it flipped itself back over. But man, these guys that had the aero screen on here, that's a lifesaver, because Connor was upside down right up against the wall for a little bit.
Not only that, but you can see the big mound of turf that collected in the roll hoop. And prior to having the aero screen, I think for sure you would have seen the driver's helmet with some of that turf contacting the top of his helmet. So great to see Connor Daly climb out. Look at the amount of turf that just packed itself into the left front wheel there as well.
There's Pietro Fittipaldi, his return to IndyCar Series Racing. This is Ed Jones. Ed had a good run last night, but it has come to a sudden end here today.
Well, that was all on Rossi. Oh, I just noticed Rossi in there. This is devastating for his championship, but I mean, these are the things that happens, Townsend, when you're mired towards the back of the pack. This is where the accidents happen, and that really all stemmed. It was a slow lead up and a kind of a late start, and everybody just in the back was ready to rock and roll, probably down in first gear, spun the tires up, and somebody turned sideways.
That's the tail end of it. We'll give you another look. Apologies for that technical problem there. We'll give you another look at it, what was the catalyst? That's what we need to find out. Look to the right-hand side of your screen.
Fittipaldi got into the back of Bourdais and turned him, and then it was just a melee from there on. So
Dalton Kellett, look at Tony Kanaan to the left of your screen, trying to tiptoe through all of that debris. Watch the purple and black. Purple car is Pietro Fittipaldi. He went into the Rocket Chevrolet of Sebastian Bourdais. There's Connor Daly.
And that happens, guys, it happens so fast, and you're hard on the power, and these cars don't stop well with these brakes and this aero configuration. You get on the brakes, but Connor came in there. He's obviously on the brakes, but you just can't even get it slowed down enough to even do anything.
Yeah, Connor had a head of steam.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Colton Herter got lucky. Did you notice that, guys? Coming through the middle in the Capstone Honda. he was able to avoid all of that. And Ryan Hunter-Reay was just ahead of him, and Tony Kanaan was on the far outside. So several drivers extremely fortunate not to get caught up in that.
And I should correct myself. I had instinctively said Jack Harvey, but that's because there's 2 Pink Auto Nation cars today. It was Rossi, as Paul called. Let's take a look on board, thanks to Auto Nation.
So some of it all checked up. You heard him get on the throttle and start to go, and then he had a nice gap there, Townsend, like he was timing it right, and then he had to get out of it, and then he got hit.
He got drilled, I think, because Bourdais had been hit from behind. This is on board with Tony Kanaan.
Yeah, the front of the pack, guys, was just not going yet, and the guys in the back were kind of laying back a little bit. You know, you see the gap here between the McLaren cars
to the right.
They're laying back here a little bit, trying to time this.
So that was Fittipaldi into Bourdais, Bourdais into Rossi.
It was a good save by Felix right there. He was about the only guy that got through that.
There's Alexander Rossi and Rob Edwards.
And Rossi's just trying to figure out what happened. He has no idea what happened until he saw the accident right here on the monitor on the replay.
Because he got hit from behind. He didn't know. He had no idea. There's Connor Daly. Both AJ Foyt cars were knocked out. We've been remiss to mention Dalton Kellett. So you've got the
tether right there, shredded apart off the back wheel of somebody's car. That's supposed to hold the wheel on the car, not let the wheel get away from the car, but it obviously shredded. That's made of Kevlar, like a winding. A lot of damage on these cars. Not what you want happening going into the month of May when you need a fast bullet, Townsend, for the Indy 500. I would assume a lot of these cars are their Indy 500 cars. So
well, they got the Indy GP road course first. They got time to rebuild these things, but more importantly, I think just the result. I mean, dead last again for all these guys. They won't even finish a lap, Lee.
Thoughts with the AJ Foyt team, because they had to work so hard into the night to get Bourdais' car fixed. And unfortunately, both Sebastian and Dalton Kellett are out, in addition to 6 other cars. That one was a big one. Yes, that's not the scene we were expecting here at Texas Motor Speedway, with wreckers picking up cars. They were everywhere, and this is how it happened. If you're just joining us, watch the purple car. That's Pietro Fittipaldi in the Dale Coyne Racing with Rick Ware Racing. He nails Sebastian Bourdais, who then hits Alexander Rossi. Ryan Hunter-Reay's able to skip through. Tony Kanaan's in there. Oh. Here comes Connor Daly, who gets 3 cars in one and then goes up and over.
Yeah, Connor saw a small hole, but it was a hole, and it closed up immediately just as he was attempting to get in, Marty.
Yeah, Alexander Rossi watching that for the first time, although he had a front row seat when it went down live. I mean, what do you say about that one, Alex? I mean, it's starting to feel like 2020 for you.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, watching that, I'm glad Connor's okay. I'm glad everyone's okay. You never want to see that. Obviously, there was a Constantine effect, and Pietro got into Sebastian, and it just kind of spun into me. But the biggest problem I have with all this is we had an entire day, and we're still setting the grid based on points. And we had plenty of tires and plenty of opportunity and daylight and weather to qualify. And I don't think this 27 Auto Nation and Andretti Honda should have ever been starting 15th. So I understand why we did it yesterday. You want to get the show in, you want to get the race in, all for that. It makes no sense why you don't just qualify this morning. We have plenty of time. So that's frustrating. Obviously, it's the same for everyone, but I feel like for us, you know, we definitely have a car that's above a 15th place car. And shouldn't be with guys that, you know, maybe don't have that same amount of pace. But ultimately, it is what it is. It's disappointing. Again, glad everyone's okay, and we'll reset and go forward at Indy in a couple weeks.
You're putting on a good front right now. How long can you kind of hang your hat on? I know the cars are fast, so I know we can go back on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are already drawing comparisons of this year to last year, and while last year we did get taken out before a green flag, the difference was like we never really felt like we had a car to win. I feel like that's a lot different this year. I think Andretti Autosport's done a really good job with giving us the tools we need. It just hasn't been meant to be yet, but there's been a lot of different factors. Ultimately, we'll just keep our heads down doing what we're doing.
It hasn't been the start to the month of May that Alexander Rossi wanted, but he could finish it pretty well, the Indianapolis 500. It was always a threat there, Lee.
Yeah, he was in that awful position where he didn't even know what he got hit by until it happened, till he got back and saw. I want to correct something too. I misspoke. I mentioned that Colton Herter was lucky in that capstone car. My mind just went to default position of the colour scheme of last year. It was in fact James Hinchcliffe who was changed livery overnight. Colton is still in the Gainbridge
Townsend,
Honda.
all very valid points. I mean, we have been sitting here all day waiting to go and nothing on track. So he does make a very valid point that they could have had a qualifying session today or even a practice, given the time that we've had.
Yeah, understandable frustration from Alexander Rossi, because he knows he's one of the fastest cars out there, could probably qualify 6th or 7th and be out of the dangers of the mid-pack on any IndyCar start, frankly. So always better to be up front, less likely to have a first lap incident, but he's just unlucky. He knows that there's zero that Alexander Rossi can do to control that situation. You just have to shake it off, and he'll focus forward, get onto the Indy GP in a couple weeks' time. But for the crew of that 27 AutoNation team, got some work to do over those next 2 weeks.
Team Penske's Will Power is in 3rd position. This is some recent radio.
There's about 7 cars out of the race, car upside down as well.
Oh, why Dixon waited so long, man, is ridiculous.
That's pretty rich coming
Yeah,
from Will.
he's the guy that does the slowest starts that there are most of the time. And let's remind of what happened at St. Louis a few years ago with how slow that start was. And it was exactly the same thing happened, a big pileup in the backs.
Marty?
Lee, you got to feel for Sebastian Bourdais. That is 2 races in a row here at Texas. Absolutely taken out, no doing of his own from behind from another competitor. So kind of walk us through this one, Sebastian.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't see anything, but Pietro apologized for running into the back of us, so I'm guessing he just drilled us. And yeah, well, there you have it. That's what sets the whole thing in motion. So clearly it was checking up at the front, which at this stage where we are, like, we should be going. So I don't know what was going on at the front, but it's still not an excuse. It's the same thing as yesterday. You know, when it checks up in front of you, you should be in control of your car and slowing down. So it's a real shame that 2 days in a row we get drilled and taken out of the race, but nothing we can do about it. And unfortunately, it's a very expensive couple of days for IndyCar Racing and Rocket number 14. So yeah, nothing to take away from that couple of days. And unfortunately, it's a shame, because it's always a shame when you get wrecked. But it's even more of a shame when it's that way, and it seems like you actually have something to fight with. So the guys that worked until midnight to fix the car from last night after Joseph took us up, and then we can't even take the green flag. So yeah, not quite sure what to say, but not very impressed right now.
How frustrating for this race team, Lee. I mean, you mentioned it. They stayed up until midnight. Sebastian mentioned it, getting this car ready and just out of it before they even take the green flag today.
Well, the additional frustration, Marty, is that man there, the 4-time champion Sebastian Bourdais, had got AJ Foyt Racing off to the best 2-race start they've had in a long time, some 15 odd years, and then now it's a double DNF for the Rocket Chevrolet.
I mean, this poor guy, Bourdais, 2 races in a row, less than 24 hours apart, Paul, hit from behind. I mean, what do you say? What do you do as a driver? Just nothing.
Purely bad luck. Nothing to do with him. Both times getting hit from behind. So obviously had an amazing start to his championship, was solidly inside the top 10 in the points, and now it's all gone sideways. And that's how fast things happen in IndyCar, with these races all going bang, bang, bang. You know, the schedule is so condensed. If you get into a bad run, it really hurts you in the points.
Let's hope he can bounce back at the Indy GP, which is next up on the schedule. Here's Dave Burns. Dave?
Lee, I talked to Connor Daly's team this morning about a sort of forgettable Saturday, and they said that we'd thrown the kitchen sink at it. We're really hoping for a great day. And then, Connor, what happened on the start there?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I think in general in IndyCar we definitely have too many start crashes, so I think we should probably look at that. You know, there's such an accordion effect, but honestly, like, it looked fine. Like, everyone was accelerating, and like I had the best view because I was last, so you see it, but all it takes is just one person, and then it's just because everyone is nose to tail. So don't know what happened. I mean, you can't throw blame at anyone. All I know is being upside down isn't fun. Never had that happen in IndyCar before. So on our checklist on our bingo card of terrible things to have happen to us so far this year, I don't know what's going to be next, but I really hope we can just, start turning things around, because it's been a rough start for sure. But I'm good. I'm all right.
Well, no, that's the best part right there. Did you see what you thought was going to be an opening there and try to just mow through?
Oh yeah, we found the hole. Hinch got right through it, and I tried to follow my pal through there. And then the 4 car looks like they just caught whoever was also crashing on the inside, and then it's like the 2 giant cars came like this, and I was in the middle. It turns out you can be upside down quite easily, so that sucked. And we will be on to better things, hopefully in Indianapolis, in our hometown here.
That's right. Get home, get it right. Connor Daly, he's okay. That's the good news, Lee.
Dave, he joins 5 other drivers out of this race: Dalton Kellett, Ed Jones, Pietro Fittipaldi, Alexander Rossi, and Sebastian Bourdais. 6 cars out of this XPEL 375. It was quite the wreck, quite the cleanup, but we will be racing sooner rather than later. If you're just joining us, welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. This is Alex Palou running in second, the NTT data on board. He's still in the race. 6 cars and drivers are not. One of those is Ed Jones. He's with Dave.
Had a great start last night. His 50th start, Lee, a 12th place finish. But today, what happened, Ed? What did you see?
Yeah, it's really frustrating. We had a great car yesterday at Sealmaster Honda, made some really big moves, had really good pace. But at the start there, everyone was very spread out, all trying to catch up, and then obviously the incident in front. I tried to avoid, I think I was going to avoid it, and I got collected from behind. So super frustrating. The guys did a great job over the weekend, and it's difficult not to see the race through.
All right, on to the next one. Short end of the day for Ed Jones.
Got his best result of the season last night with a 12th place finish. This restart is presented by XPEL, and it's Scott Dixon leading the field to green and trying to protect his lead. All right, there's the jump. Dixon's gone.
Green.
And here comes Will Powell. Look at that 3rd car engine line, the black and red Verizon car. And here comes Jack Harvey in that pink number 60. Look at Harvey go!
He's ready to rock and roll out of the last night. He says, I'm here and I'm for real, Townsend. And look at Simon Pagenaud up on the high side. This track, though, it's going to be hot and slick today. Look at Jack on the outside.
Ready to race, and Pato Award in that orange and black Arrow McLaren SP Chevy. He's duking it out with Will Powell, but Harvey was spectacular on that restart.
And once again, Dixon just showing his young teammate Alex Palou how a restart works. Palou kind of asleep at the wheel again on the start. I think it's going to take a little while for Palou to get comfortable at the jump, but the action further back with Power and Award there. That black and orange car of Pato Award, we ride on board right now.
Pato's ready to step up to the next level, not only as an oval driver, but also get in the winner's circle, guys. He's really having a good season so far this year, but I got to tell you, the conditions today are much hotter. There's sun on the track. The tire wear last night in cooler conditions, Marty, was really bad, so I think it might be worse today.
And I think even with the potential of worse tire wear today, Paul, you look at 18 laps of caution to start the race. All the strategists up and down pit road coming into the race thought it would be a 4-stopper. That's now changed. It's going to be a 3-stop race. So Townsend and Paul, no matter how slick it is and no matter how worn out your tires might be and how miserable you might be behind the wheel, they're going to make you stay out there for at least 60 laps per run.
No, they might ask, but the driver's the one with the wheels and the wheel and the pedals. And there were a lot of anxious drivers last night at the end of the tire stint, right around that lap 60 mark. So with hotter temperatures, like Paul pointed out, we're going to see how many guys are willing to hang on, how slow they have to go to hang on, because it might make sense to try to get in that 4th stop and put sticker tires on for better pace.
Last night, Pato's strategy was to pit early, get fresh tires, and go fast. That propelled him through the field, and it got him a good result. The guys that stayed out long and ran on tires, I talked to Tony Kanaan. He goes, I wanted to stay out because in case it goes yellow, you go down a lap. But I was going so slow at the end of the run, the fresher tires were so much quicker. Pato really made up a lot of ground on fresh tires. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys stretch this out to the high 50 lap mark to 60 laps.
And a lot of that indecision diff is down to the fact that Scott Dixon stayed out a very long time on the stints and it had good pace at the front. So you always look at what the winner did, and in this case, the winner was extra special as usual. Dixon, again, leading comfortably.
From one Chip Ganassi Honda, the American Legion machine, the 48 of Tony Kanaan. We say hi to Jimmy Johnson as well. Jimmy was watching yesterday, watching what that car was doing in the hands of TK. Here is the sister car. I ran into Chip Ganassi himself last night, and he was just thrilled with what went down yesterday. We had a bit of a reflective chat, and he said, you know what, I'm not one for saying the glory days or the golden years were the eras of whoever you want to name. He said, in my opinion, the golden era of IndyCar is right now. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Great to hear. How about the golden season that Jack Harvey's having so far? That number 60 driver in third place right now. What a power move that was on Will Power at the start, Paul. I mean, he said he wasn't going to get pushed around. He belongs in the top 5. Some of the other drivers maybe not used to seeing him perform at the front, but he has absolutely proven it tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what.
About 12 back to Power. And then he's got Pato with him, and then a slight gap there.
His team owner, Michael Shank, is absolutely over the moon with how he is driving this year. We know he's fast on road courses and street courses, but now he's really getting used to these ovals.
Paul, I think after a night like last night where you tick off 2 drivers, one of them who is really in essence your teammate, that could go one of 2 ways with a young driver, right? It could either make them lose confidence, or they can say, you know what, I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder. I'm not going to take it. I deserve to be in the top 5, and that's certainly the attitude you get from Jack Harvey and this race team. Hey, we deserve to be up here, and we need to show people we want to be up front, and we're going to be a contender.
Well, listen, man, he's running right now as we run 4th in points. So he's the highest guy on the team if you consider them as a partner to Andretti Racing. So right now, he's in the driver's seat. He's the top guy.
Speaking of partners, I was talking with Mike Shank and Jim Meyer, the former CEO of Sirius XM Satellite Radio last night. They formed the partnership. There's Mike. You'll always see Jim walking around with a bright pink polo shirt on. And they're the partners. That's when it transitioned from Mike Shank Racing to Meyer Shank Racing. And they continue to build. Remember, they have a full-time IMSA WeatherTech program as well. They're building a new race shop in Pataskala, Ohio, the headquarters for the team. They continue to grow in all measures of the words, right? On track, off track, everything. They are serious contenders.
Let's not forget that later this month, the greatest spectacle in racing, this team will have 2 cars with Helio Castroneves in the other seat. So they are adding depth and making a big commitment to this sport, and it's paying off right now on track.
Back in 4th place, don't let Will Power's results so far this weekend at Texas fool you. 16th in practice yesterday, 14th in the race. I talked to Ron Rzuski this morning about why they pitted so early. They were having a fueling issue. A wiring loop was not delivering the correct message to the engine, and they had to pit early because they were consuming way too much fuel. And when that happened, the caution came out at the wrong time. They got off strategy, and they really didn't have a night that should have been based on the performance of the race car. Will's in 4th now. I think he's going to be around at the end of the race today, guys.
Let's take a ride with Power, the Verizon onboard. Have a listen. Firestone telemetry shows us that Will was getting up to 220 miles an hour entering turn 3. Watch it again. 210, 15, 17. Broaches 220 again. So Power is the lead Team Penske driver at the moment. It's a couple of Chip Ganassi's guys, followed by the Meyer Shank driver, then Power, and Arrow McLaren SP's Pato O'Ward. We fully acknowledge that it's the month of May and IndyCars are racing, but they're not at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway yet. but the greatest spectacle in racing will be later this month, the 105th running of the Indianapolis 500, May 30th, only on NBC, your home of the Indy 500. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy, Dave Burns and Marty Snyder. We're riding on board Takuma Sato in the Shield Cleansers Honda for Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing. The team celebrating its 30th anniversary. And look at this, Pato O'Ward getting a run on Will Power. O'Ward in that orange and black Arrow McLaren SP Chevy.
Will immediately knew what was up, Townsend. It just faded to the inside, blocked the inside. He knew that Power needed to go to the outside, Dave.
And outside the infield, Kersen now with Pietro Fittipaldi. First of all, are you okay? And what was happening there at the start?
Yeah, I'm okay. I think I sprained my finger a little bit, but the doctors here did a great job, took care of me. You know, I was behind Seb. We were running well, and they backed up ahead, and I had no room to go anywhere. I tried and didn't have any room. Hit Seb, and then turned him around, and you know, there was that huge accident. But you know, I was behind Seb. I don't know if the leaders are in the middle of the pack. They backed up. I got on the brakes, but no time to be able to go anywhere, especially on the outside. I tried, but there's nowhere to go really. So it was unfortunate what happened. We had a good car yesterday, and wanted to run the whole race here. So,
were you hustling up to kind of close up to the field anyway, Pietro? Is that part of the deal?
Yeah, because the guys ahead of us left a gap, so we're everyone kind of closing up. But then we got pretty steady, got a run, and you know, I was right behind Seb within a couple feet, and then they slowed down. I had nowhere to go. I think I saw the McLaren avoid. He went really inside. He was able to get out, and I couldn't. And then yeah, and then there was the accident. So
glad you're okay. Heal up.
Good to see that Pietro Fittipaldi's okay. He had a really good run last night, completed all the laps, and in his return to IndyCar, he'd done 6 races a couple of years ago. So terrific to have the grandson of the legend Emerson Fittipaldi back in IndyCar racing. Things are starting to get nice and tight here. Harvey in that Auto Nation Sirius XM pink, bright pink car, the Honda for Meyer Shank Racing. He's got his mirrors a little more full of Will Power, and Pato O'Ward's not far away either. We've got some Pato O'Ward radio. Let's listen.
You're doing a very good job. Everybody's settled into a number, just like you. What you're doing is very good for us right now. Just keep riding.
That number is a fuel number, so the team reminding Pato O'Ward, hey, everybody's on the same deal, but this young Mexican driver, Paul, he doesn't like to sit in 4th.
No, he's ready to go.
Fifth.
He's got a nice outside move, tries it, but he has to back off. Will Power is really driving defensive right now. He's protecting the inside, but now he's got a little run down on the bottom. But Jack Harvey was challenging the Ganassis early, now tire wear becoming a factor, and he's backed up to these guys. So this is a nice little tight race right here.
Power with some very subtle little fades, Paul. There's a name for that.
And Marty, look who's in the background, Joseph Newgarden. He passed more cars than anybody yesterday. Let's not discount the 2-time champ.
Yeah, he's having a nice little run here, Lee, saying the car's gotten a little bit too free towards the end of the run. But speaking of Pato O'Ward, he said a moment ago to his strategist, Taylor Kyle, he said, I have more pace than the 12 car. I just can't get by him. He saw him try that a moment ago. And that number you were talking about, Townsend, everyone trying to save fuel to make it to that first stop, which should be coming up in about 10 laps or so. So about lap 65-ish into 70, that's when you'll see that first stop of the day. Again, turning this race into a 3-stop race now.
Scott Dixon and Alex Palou have taken off. They are in their own zip code. Now 4.3 seconds ahead of Jack Harvey. So that's the margin first to third to this grouping of cars behind. Joseph Newgarden in that XPEL Chevrolet is his teammates, Simon Pagenaud and Scott McLaughlin. McLaughlin lost a spot to Simon in the early laps. There he is there in the PPG Chevy, just ahead of Graham Rahal. I was just talking earlier to 4-time Bathurst 1000 winner and fellow New Zealander Greg Murphy, and Murph was beside himself with joy for this young New Zealander. He said, all of my racing mates, both in Australia and New Zealand, everyone was just electrified by the performance from this guy because he's come from such a different racing environment. It has been a massive leap to come over here and drive something so different, and his first oval race.
Well, I think that's just it, Diff, is that It's his first oval, and that's the big unknown, I think, for any driver internationally coming to IndyCar for the first time with zero oval experience. It's the anxiety of knowing, hey, I don't have the knowledge. It's going to take me some time. Couple that, Paul, with the fact that he comes over to race for Team Penske, the most successful team ever, as Pato O'Ward and Will Power, all kinds of wiggling.
On the apron, wiggling. He was straddling the white line, just got just a little bit below it, nearly lost the back of the car. That was mega brave.
And such little room to navigate below that darker PJ1 section. It's just barely enough for 2 cars wide to stay on the light gray part where the grip is.
Focus and patience, all good here.
We got to get an in-car of that, because that was hanging on right there.
He didn't give me room.
He didn't give me room, Pato says. We know that he's got ninja hands, Paul. Those hands would have been moving fast then.
Absolutely. This kid's got so much car control. You know, the one thing with him, Townsend, is he's hard on the tires, but right now he's driving the wheels off this thing, and check this out. Nice run.
Pressure here, pressure.
Fades him up.
Back.
Gets the inside line, and he's there, Townsend.
Oh.
Low.
He's there, but just, and you can see O'Ward. Probably some of the fastest hands in the sport. Look at that fade.
That was super sketchy. Right on the apron. And you don't know, guys that are watching this at home, that banking is so steep and it flattens out so fast. If you even touch that, the car will just snap sideways immediately. And when we get you the in-car view of this, watch his hands.
Well, Pato O'Ward was on the white line with his left sides, and like you said, Paul, another inch, and it goes from 24 degrees to, frankly, 0, and it can weight jack the car and send you backwards instantly.
Oh, he's got another good run, but here's
a little bit of pressure here.
Let's have a look at that onboard.
Pressure, looking.
We got a new nickname for Pato. He is the Ninja. We saw it from the outside view of those hands. Here it is from the inside. The Mission Food is on board. Look and listen.
Oh. His hands working furiously.
I wish the camera hadn't moved, but he is absolutely attacking Will Power, and that's given a little bit of a break for Jack Harvey. Jack Harvey is kind of checked out from these guys now.
Dave, what you got?
Well, Lee, while we have one eye on this story of a doubleheader at Texas Motor Speedway, we also want to take one eye on a great story that happened this February at Texas. And well, we're going to show you, first of all, this morning of a guy named Trey McDaniel getting a ride for the first time around the Texas Motor Speedway oval. But his story is why he got here, and it's because on February 11th, as he was going to help administer vaccines as an EMT, he got in a wreck. Not just any wreck, a big wreck on I-35, 130 cars involved. Trey, you did what was instinctive and got out and started helping. What was that like?
It's just felt right. It's exactly what I've been doing every single day. I wake up for work, and it just felt like that's exactly what I need to be doing at that exact time. So it just felt natural for me.
Now today you were honored by the Speedway, and you got to ride with Mario Andretti. What was that like?
Oh my goodness, words cannot describe how intense these machines are that go around the track. The G's that they pull going around those corners are nothing that I've ever felt in my entire life. Even during that accident, it was incredible going around that track with Mario. He is a fantastic driver, fantastic guy. When it's going around that corner, it feels like the tail end's going to come out, but it is so glued to the ground there. It's incredible.
Thank goodness for downforce. Thank goodness for all of our health workers, EMTs, first responders like Trey, who have helped us through this pandemic, Lee. And today we reward one of them here at Texas Motor Speedway.
That is one good human being.
Oh my gosh, if you saw the pictures of Trey's Toyota FJ Cruiser, just a huge crash that he suffered through, and then he had the wherewithal to get out, and Toyota headquartered here in Dallas, Texas, they gave him a brand new 4Runner, Paul, for being a good guy at the right time.
Time to talk some pit stop strategy. Marty, you there?
First stop of the day, Colton Herta hits here at lap 66, so on the early side of the window. Now these fresh Firestone tires for Herta will gain him 2 seconds a lap. We'll see if others follow him down pit road, Dave.
Ryan Hunter-Ray is going to be one of those drivers for Andretti Autosport. Not a great day yesterday. They made wholesale changes on this 28 car. Now he's going to get 4 fresh Firestone primaries and Speedway fuel and be on his way.
The Award power fight does not go away.
I think Award really didn't appreciate the fade there on the back straightaway, PT, and I think he got fired up to send it in on power because they've been coaching him to just basically ride around, hit the fuel number, be patient. But that dude, that drew the ire of Pato Award, and I'll bet it hasn't subsided just yet. You call him the ninja diff. I call him the bullfighter. This guy's ready for battle.
I call him fearless, guys. He has tried it twice on the low side on Will Power, once on the outside. And remember, he said, I'm quicker than him. I should be able to get around him. But he's saying behind the wheel, when is Will Power going to give me a little bit of room? That's what he told the team a moment ago. So do you guys agree? Power's power.
Oh, he's got another run now.
Huge run. Award put his left front on the white line for extra grip. This is going to be dicey.
He's got to send it into turn 3, but Will Power didn't give him the Pruitt fade that time. The door was wide open. But for whatever reason, Pato just elected not to dive in there.
And get ready for Joseph Newgarden right there in that yellow and white XPEL Chevy. Like I said, passed more cars than anybody else last night, and he will be ready. He's watching this fight up ahead, and when his opportunity comes, he'll pounce. Award's off to the pits.
We want to go.
That's early. Lap 71.
Well, that was the strategy last night. Get in, get the tires, and he's following Dixon in. So this could be the right strategy.
Yeah, if you're Mike Hull, right, you know you have the best car. You've led all but one lap to this point. You led all of them until he came to pit road here. So you want to play it safe. So they're coming in here, lap 71, no changes. Scott Dixon very happy. You see Pato Award also coming down pit road. He's going to get 4 fresh Firestones as well. And then Simon Pagenaud, too. He's coming down pit road for 4 fresh Firestone tires. All these guys pitting here at lap 72.
Good stop from the Arrow McLaren SP team. So too Team Penske. Here comes Jack Harvey. The Meyer Shank gang will be waiting. Power is in. Dave's there.
Will Power in the 12 for Team Penske. Will bring it to pit road. He's already gone. Fuel in. Tires on, Marty.
Jack Harvey, too much understeer for much of that run, Dave, but having an impressive run inside the top 5. You see that very slight wing adjustment. He called for that as he was coming to pit road. Also coming down pit road, Alex Palou, the winner earlier this year at Barber Motorsports Park, had a terrific run here at the Texas Oval last night, and he has been happy with his race car, riding in second behind his teammate Scott Dixon. We'll see a long stop there on the right rear. That'll certainly cost him some track position.
There was a frantic race off pit road between Scott McLaughlin, Graham Rahal. Looked like McLaughlin won that one. Newgarden is serviced. He comes out ahead there of Felix Rosenquist. So let's see how they all cycle back. In particular, the 2 Chip Ganassi Racing teammates. Where is Dixon in relation to Palou?
Palou has learned. He was smoked last night on the ins and outs, but here comes Dixon. Palou is just coming out. It's still not as close as it needs to be for Alex Palou, but not as bad as last night. I'd say he took half of the advantage away from Dixon, but that's a long way to go.
It was a long stop, and he had a big enough gap to not have to worry about it. So Pagenaud makes the move on Herta. Right now, VK leading, and here comes Ed Carpenter, who's currently in second, Dave.
On pit road and a bad vibration. It's been the story of the weekend for some drivers, and Ed said 3 laps ago, man, it's just getting so much worse, and they said, we need 3 more laps out of you, boss. He did it. We'll check out those tires that just came off the car.
Tell you who one of the biggest winners was from that cycle of stops was Joseph Newgarden for Team Penske. That team did a phenomenal job. His in-lap was terrific as well. Here he comes. Oh. He's got O'Ward trying to go around the outside. So once O'Ward pitted and opened up some clear track for Joseph, he capitalized on that, and now they're in an on-track fight. Power is now behind O'Ward, so now it's still Team Penske versus Arrow McLaren SP, but a different driver in the fight.
He's in a flat-out boxing match with the 2 Penske drivers. Both of these guys champions, and this kid looking to win his first race. It's the only guy, Townsend, that is able to really run that close to the cars behind him. His car's working well. He's just got to find a way around.
His car's working well, but he's also incredibly brave, like Marty said. I mean, willing to put his left side tires right on that white line, which allows him to find just a smidge of clean air on the front wing.
Once you get settled in.
That's Tim Cindric on the radio to Newgarden telling him, targets to get to lap 150. Or maybe that's a fuel number, probably a fuel number 150.
78 laps complete, 170 to go. What you got, Marty?
You see Rinus VeeKay giving up the lead to come down pit road. Man, he was struggling with the handling of that car at the end of that run, but because they went so much longer than everybody else, pitting here on lap 79, in fact, some 8 laps longer than Scott Dixon, that's really going to open up the playbook for this team for the rest of the race. Nice stop by the 21 team. We'll see where he cycles out.
That Sonac Chevy will get back up to speed pretty quickly. So Scott Dixon, Alex Palou, Jack Harvey, that's the top 3, as it has been. New man in 4th place is Joseph Newgarden, but everybody is chasing Dixon. Speaking of XPEL, here we go. We're on the onboard with Joseph Newgarden. Great pit stop cycle, great work from the team, good clean driving from Joseph, and he has got around Jack Harvey. He's now up into 3rd, and he set sail for the 2 Chip Ganassi Racing Hondas. Here is Harvey on the left. He's got a little bit of an advantage over Alex Palou, and it seems like he's starting to bridge the gap back to Joseph Newgarden.
He's coming back now. Harvey is now kind of pulled himself back up to Newgarden. Newgarden on the fresher tires was pretty strong, was under threat from Pato O'Ward, but then got by Harvey, but now they're all backing up.
I wonder, Paul, if we're just seeing Joseph Newgarden breathing it a little bit on the straightaways like he was last night, and then exiting out of the corner. Marty, are you hearing much on fuel numbers for Newgarden? Because it seems like he's just floating it into turn 1.
He kind of is of the mindset that he kind of wants the help from the 60 and the 5, and maybe as a pack they can go up there and catch those Ganassi cars. But they made a load of changes to this 2-car overnight, and I talked to Joseph right before he climbed in the car, and these hot, sunny, slick conditions, that's usually where he's outstanding. So I think that certainly is in his favor. The car's handling much better today, and that first pit stop lead, you called it out. They gained a ton of spots through that. So I think if there's one guy who can challenge Dixon today, it might be Newgarden.
As you all know, the Olympic Summer Games coming to NBC Sports this July and August. Japan is a very special country to this guy here, Joseph Newgarden, and his wife Ashley. They got engaged in Kyoto, and Joseph just loves the Olympics, either summer or winter, and he wanted to go to Tokyo this summer, fellas. And then, of course, when the International Olympic Committee said there are going to be no international fans, he was kind of bummed. So it's still on his to-do list. He wants to go to an Olympics.
Pato's right there on the back of Jack Harvey, pressuring. He's been pressuring everybody all day long. Just can't seem to find a way around. But right now the gap has kind of stayed steady at about 3 to 3.5 seconds from Newgarden to Palou. So they're not really closing that gap by running here in a pack. They need to pick it up a little bit.
I think for Harvey to take away any advantage for O'Ward, so we see Jack Harvey there. I think Harvey's just got to bring it down an extra foot. You see how he's staying off the white line there, Paul? O'Ward is willing to put it right on the line. If you take that opportunity away from O'Ward, he'll pick up some turbulent air on his front wing. He won't be able to stay as close.
Paul, I've got a question for you. We've seen speeds of 220 miles an hour. 20 years ago, you did a lap at 236 miles an hour. How was that around here?
Wow, it's insane how fast the cars were back in the day. It really, what does that equate to? And we worked it out with Russ, the stat man. It really only equates to 1 second per lap faster than what the cars run at 220 miles an hour. So not a lot of time in the real world, only 1 second, but it's a heck of a lot of speed a mile an hour.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Dave?
Gents, you may have been wondering how Takuma Sato dropped down to 16th. The driver of the 30 car, it was a slow pit stop, and the outside rear had a gun failure. You see him there working, the hand goes up, gun is not working, need the reserve, you go back, you get it. Yep, and it's going nowhere until you get that nut tightened.
So painful too at these speeds at 220 miles an hour. That's a football field per second, and it's just, stop has just turned into a disaster, Townsend.
Yeah, just brutal. Was right there with his teammate Graham Rahal, just inside the top 10. So going to take some magic to claw that deficit down, but started 11th, currently 16th. Shows just on the tail end of the lead lap there, 23 seconds back, and got Scott Dixon all over the back of him. patient for now, but I imagine Dixon's going to want to try to make a move at some point and keep marching forward, not let the field close up to the back of that 9 car. Let's hear a little Scott Dixon radio earlier, just see where he is right now in his race strategy.
So let's let her go and use him.
Yes, he's short pitted, Scott. Good job there. The tires that came off looked great. Did a great job of those tires.
That's the coaching from Mike Hall. That's what you want to hear, Paul. Is there anything else I need to be doing to maximize the stint, the average pace? And I think the best in the business, obviously, at managing tires is Scott Dixon. So that's just another proof of the pudding to hear it from the box after they look at those Firestones after 70 laps, 72 laps on the tires.
This guy has the ability to know what is going on throughout the race. On his wheel, he can see who is in which position and what they are doing. So while he's doing what he's doing, he's monitoring what his competitors are doing as well, Marty. Like eyes everywhere.
Hey guys, we're hearing a lot of teams talk about a fuel number today. We're hearing a lot of teams talking about using the weight jacker inside the car. At an oval, you can do that. You cannot do that at a road course. So we want to thank Chip Ganassi Racing and Marcus Erickson for letting us have their backup wheel. And this is what the wheel looks like inside that 8 car. We'll take you through the whole thing. This is push to talk on the radio for Marcus. Overtake, not a factor this weekend, only at road and street courses. But here's the weight jacker. Left side, right side over here. This is to reset the fuel after a stop. On a hot day, you definitely want a drink of water. These are all the fuel maps, and that's the constant conversation right now, trying to hit a number. So they'll tell Marcus, orange 4, he hits the button right there. That is his fuel number. This is sort of to go through the pages of everything. Reverse, weight jacker on the right side like we talked about, neutral, and pit road speed. And on the back of it is upshift, downshift, and all the clutches. So Townsend and Paul, this is constantly showing you information as a driver when it's plugged in, your shift lights and everything. At an oval, those shift lights are vital.
Yeah, you really want to gear these cars so that if you have a run in the draft that you're able to take advantage of it. Last night we saw Tony Kanaan a little short on his top gear, so he was getting into the rev limiter right at around 12,000 RPM. On board with Kanaan now, and you'll see those lights. And you'll just listen. Let's find out where he is on gearing today.
Not in any big draft. Last night he was mired in the pack, but he was out of revs on the front straightaway here.
And that car is not straight after the lap 1 restart, and it does not drive well for Tony. He said, I'm doing the best I can. And they said, just hang in there, buddy, hang in there.
He is in 17th position at the moment, TK, but
That's
he's
Rossi
excited.
ahead of you. He's many more laps down.
He's excited about the month of May as he heads back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to try and win a second Indy 500. Hey, need to tell you about Carvana because they're associated, of course, with the 48 and Jimmy Johnson, and they're giving you a chance to choose the livery that Jimmy will drive next month in Detroit at Belle Isle, and simply visit Carvana.com/vote to make your pick. 143 laps to go here in the XPEL 375. Dixon dominating. Let the games begin. Join Simon, Howie, Heidi, Sophia, and Terry for summer's #1 show. It's America's Got Talent, and it premieres June 1st on NBC.
You know, Diff, I was lucky enough to be a guest at Paul's house in the off-season, and from across the way, he was in the shower. I heard this velvety, angelic tone. Paul, if you were to audition, what would you sing?
Oh, well, I'd throw one out for the guys that went out on the first lap, and I'd sing, "It's too late, baby, now it's too late."
Well, it might be too late.
Award just pass you. Oh, and I think it blew up, too.
Something's gone for Jack Harvey. Harvey, whoa, that's a lucky one right in front of Will Power there.
Right rear.
Problems for the British driver.
Or maybe his motor.
He just said on the radio, we're blowing up.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Right in the middle of my song,
Okay,
too.
just be careful through here. Be careful through here. You've got some oil, so just be careful here.
Great guidance, great coaching. And during the break, James Hinchcliffe has retired from the race as well. So the attrition rate is horrendous here today at Texas Motor Speedway. This will now make 8 cars out of the race. What a shame for Jack Harvey. So as he comes to a stop, let's have a listen to Joseph Newgarden, and the caution is out.
wheel one feel okay when you were running before we pitted?
Yeah, it seemed okay then, but I couldn't really tell. It was just having to pitch, it felt like crap. It seemed like once I switched right back to 3, it was better.
We'll go with that. Don't know if the wind's messing with us or not.
So some back and forth between President of Team Penske, Tim Cindric, who also calls the strategy for Joseph Newgarden, and this is Jack Harvey.
Almost looks like it's coming out of the wheel well.
Yeah, it's a wheel bearing. The wheel bearing is smoke.
And where did we see that, Marty? Yesterday with Colton Herta, same issue.
Same issue with him yesterday, and they basically overheated the brakes, which then kind of caused a bearing fire inside the rear end, and this looks to be a similar fire for Jack Harvey. And you guys mentioned this is a team who really felt like if we can get to Indy, top 7 in the championship standings, that's where we want to be. They were 4th in the standings earlier today, but now they're going to be out of it early. We'll find out exactly what happened.
That's a wheel bearing that went bad because he hasn't been on the brakes for many laps. So the loads here, Townsend, on the outside rear as you go through the banking, it loads the bearing. I've had this happen in the past, and it just overheats the bearing, and after a while the bearing gives up, then it starts eating itself, and then the next it gets hot and it seizes itself.
And I'm pretty sure, Paul, that the Andretti team builds the uprights for Meyer Shank Racing. They share technical builds, and this was last night with Colton Herta from the Andretti team. Right rear issues for Colton Herta. He comes to pit lane, fire inside the wheel well, and you see the magnesium wheel also lighting up with that white sparkle.
You see the wheels wobbly too, so the bearing's gone out of it because the wheel's wobbling around. So 100%, I don't feel that this was a brake issue. It's a wheel bearing issue, and that's the way that these guys set these wheel bearings up. And the grease they use, they're obviously trying to use as light a grease as you can, because you put heavier grease into the wheel bearing, what happens? It drags slower. You run lighter, lightweight grease, it spins faster. The car goes faster, but we got pit stops now.
Marty's standing by. Let's see who's going to be the quickest in and out. That last stop for Newgarden was spectacular. He's up against the Ganassi boys. Here we go, Marty.
Here come all the leaders to pit road, Lee, and this is going to be tight. 129 to go to make it on one more stop, but they'll all try from here. Scott Dixon and Alex Palou obviously very happy with their cars. Joseph Newgarden had an interesting comment at one point. Said, I feel like I'm low on power. The team said they were going to check into it. We'll see who wins the race off pit road, and it was tight. How about Will Power gaining a few spots here on pit road?
How about Graham Rahal as well? Power and Rahal had tremendous stops. Here he is, the Fleet Cost and Care Honda. He's ahead of Joseph Newgarden, and Power is just ahead of him. Great stops. They both gained 3 positions each.
But the biggest number on that board is 4. Unfortunately, it's in the red, -4 spots. 4 spots lost on pit lane for Alex Palou, so he's going to have to earn those back.
Under the second full-course caution of the day here at Texas Motor Speedway. This was the reason for the first. We can tell you that every driver involved in this, there were 6 of them, they're okay. And the most recent retirements, James Hinchcliffe and Jack Harvey. Before you lift it, you have to earn it. The Stanley Cup playoffs begin May 15th. It's only a couple of weeks away on the networks of NBC. There's nothing like playoff hockey. Paul, did you play hockey in Canada as a kid?
Yeah, I started in hockey. I was a goalie, and we had a bit of a crappy team, and we were losing all the time, and I was getting blamed, and my dad said, hey, you want to go to New Zealand and race go-karts in New Zealand or play hockey? And I said, no, let's go to New Zealand for Christmas. And so that was the end of hockey.
There you go.
Somewhere there's some poor kid from that hockey team that thought, well, I thought we were a pretty good team.
Marty.
Let's talk to Jack Harvey out of it, unfortunately, early today, and it looks like such a promising day, Jack. Any idea, engine or wheel bearing, like what happened to Colton yesterday? Any idea what happened?
I think it was the right rear wheel bearing, mate. It just could felt it the lap before, just kind of weird sensation that the rear was moving around a lot, and for sure happened in 3 and 4, and then honestly in that next lap it was super loose, but I could see the smoke coming, off the back. So I mean, just it's a disappointing day, for everybody at Meyer Shank Racing. Obviously want to say thank you for their hard work. I think the number 60 AutoNation Sirius XM looked super good. Had a mega start, and right before we went out, you asked me if I was going to change anything, and I told you I wasn't. And I feel like the amount of room I want to give people is just enough, just enough to get through. So I felt like for sure we had a top 5 day going there. So it's disappointing because sometimes those don't come around all the time, especially in IndyCar right now. It's just so competitive this year. And every year, in all fairness, but hopefully we get it fixed and even just get back out and do like a few more laps today. So hopefully that's not the last time you see the car circulating.
With the first few races and the finish last night, do you feel like this team has really put themselves on the map, Jack?
I mean, I hope so. You know, I think at the end of the day, I guess what we're doing now is what we felt like we could do even last year. It's just last year we kind of missed that end result where everyone's working really, really hard to put those, you know, final pieces of the jigsaw together. And honestly, at this level now, it's just marginal gains. You know, it's 5 areas, you know, 1%, and you know everyone's doing like a really, really fantastic job. It's a super disappointing result today to, you know, have an issue basically when we were running, you know, pretty comfortably in 4th, I would say at that point. But I guess it's just the results I felt like we could get. It's the results we felt like we could get, and that's, you know, we just want that to keep snowballing and hopefully keeps it in consistent top 5s, and then obviously consistent podiums, and hopefully wins.
Out of it early, but still with a smile on his face. And the race coming up next, the Indy GP, and that's one of his best tracks, Lee.
Marty, I think that Jack Harvey has put himself on the map this weekend more than any other weekend, including his podium at the Indy GP a couple of years ago. It was some terrific driving from the British driver. We say hi to everyone watching. It's late at night in the UK, watching on Sky Sports F1. Here's a former F1 driver, Marcus Ericsson, in the Husky Chocolate Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing. He's been penalised for improper lane usage after that most recent stop, and he had to give the position back to the 20 of Ed Carpenter in the US Air Force Chevrolet.
Get some heat in him here.
And Ericsson has done that, so he sits 12th, Carpenter 11th. Everything has been cleaned up, and we are ready to go racing. There are 16 active cars on the track here at Texas Motor Speedway with 122 laps to go on a beautiful 82-degree afternoon here in the Lone Star State, where the guy out in front has won 5 times. He's going to try and make it 6, and he gets a great restart. Who looks good? Jumping out of line is Pato O'Ward. There's Rosenquist in the blue and orange car.
Look at O'Ward. Look at O'Ward on the high side in the PJ1.
Super wiggly through the middle, but he hangs onto it. And now he's got to run down the back straightaway on Will Power.
And his teammate Rosenquist goes on the inside of Palou. The Arrow McLaren SP Chevys are on the move.
Man, these guys are strong today. They've had a strong weekend. And now look at Will Power under attack.
Here comes O'Ward again. I think that last ride through there might have been a little too sketchy. O'Ward opting to duck in behind Power. That was unreal, the bravery from O'Ward to send it to the high side. Look at it, 3 wide down the back straightaway.
That is Herder on McLaughlin. Ericsson's in behind as well. So that yellow, black and blue Honda, the Gainbridge machine, there is Colton. And McLaughlin is getting swamped.
Marcus Ericsson back on the move, trying to march forward. Nice move around Scott McLaughlin.
Look at O'Ward. He is shadowing Will Power. O'Ward wants this to be the day that he becomes an IndyCar race winner.
Great run coming off of 4. Watch this. What does he do this time? Does he go for it?
He's going to send it.
Oh, he's got to be careful.
That was clean.
Straight to second goes the young Mexican driver. Now he begins his quest to go and catch the 5-time winner here.
Diffie, I said at the start of this race that somebody's got to step up and challenge Dixon. It's going to take something bold, and so far, Marty, Pato O'Ward showing he has the boldest tonight as Graham Rahal all over Power. He's going to try to follow suit.
Oh, he's got it too.
Inside,
wheel, they almost touched.
Clear by 5.
I think Will Power was fed up with the high side move and decided to fire it in and hold the position.
I can tell you guys, Pato O'Ward was not going to give Will Power any quarter. He was done after that first 3 times he tried to pass him. That's why he was going to try that high line to go around Power. Now the question is, can he catch Scott Dixon, who nobody's been able to catch all weekend long?
Scott Dixon has now led 123 laps in this race. In his career here at Texas Motor Speedway, Dixon has just surpassed 1,000 laps led. You know he's good here with stats like that. Look at Ray Hall in the Fleet Costin Care Honda, the white and blue machine. Here he comes again for another go at Will Power.
Big head of steam, and he's clear. Chops the nose off Will Power, well clear. Perfectly timed pass.
We're going to walk you through some replays and at least one of them will involve Pato O'Ward, the orange and black Arrow McLaren SP machine at the restart.
Big power move on the outside and wiggling, nearly loses it on that PJ1 on the cold tires. But he was making every opportunity on the brand new tires.
Oh, look at McLaughlin learning the fade on Colton Herta. The black and yellow car forcing his way through on the apron.
Very similar to last year with Dixon. But Colton Herta came down the inside exactly like this with Dixon. They got in wheel to wheel and he lost it, but that was a clean pass.
Hey guys, talking about clean passes, the little box down the bottom, there's so much to watch here, but Graham Rahal is in both screens at the moment. Rahal has just blown by Pato O'Ward for second. Now he begins his chase on Scott Dixon. Rahal is the 2016 winner here at Texas Motor Speedway, and this might be the first legit chance to see somebody challenge Scott Dixon.
Well, he was a half a second quicker on that lap than Scott Dixon, so Rahal right now rocking and rolling, Townsend.
3 to the next car, 5 gap to the next one, pack of 5 by the INDM.
Look at that speed difference. Last lap 212, leader speed 208. So Graham Rahal flying right now.
Long way to go. I wonder how much fuel Scott Dixon wants to burn as Graham Rahal breathes out of it right there. He had a chance to make a run, wasn't probably close enough.
Got to time this right from here. Now he's got to get a run down the back. Pulled it wide open through 3
Can I
and 4.
lead if I can or no?
What did Rahal just say?
He said, can I lead if I can or no? Graham Rahal wants to know, should I get?
Yeah, you can.
He was wide open through 3 and 4, so he's got to set this up. Get off the radio and set this up right now. So let's watch the throttle and listen to this through 3 and 4. Watch the green lights at the bottom. That's the throttle.
Come in, we hit 3 back.
Here he comes. Look at that.
You can mix 2.
So he backs off. So he's trying to save a little bit of fuel here. But
Paul, I don't
he's
think
got a car to take the lead.
I don't think Graham Rahal's trusting his team right now on fuel because Graham is sitting here going, there's no way Scott Dixon is going this slow for a reason. Don't count out the 6-time champ. Don't second guess the strategy of that number 9 car. They're the winningest team in IndyCar racing.
Take him now.
And now he just can't hold himself back. He's going.
He got her done easy. And that's the first guy that's led since Alex Palou at the beginning of last night.
Hey, Marty, the last pit stops were on 119. That was earlier than we expected because of the yellow. All the teams took advantage. Do you think Dixon's just trying to play it cool here and save the fuel to make sure he can go on one more stop?
That's the game. Who wants to lead, Townsend? That's why Graham Rahal said, can I lead? And they told him, yes, if you want to lead, go take the lead. That's why Pato O'Ward gave up second a moment ago to Graham Rahal. They told him, we need you to save fuel. Pato came back and said, I cannot race these guys and save fuel at the same time. They said, I know, dude, but if we don't hit our fuel number, we won't make it to the end. So that's the game right now. How much fuel can you save and still make lap time?
So I gotta wonder, what is Graham's team seeing that they don't have on the 9 or the 5 car right now? It would be fascinating to see how this plays out.
And look at everybody starting to come into the mix. Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, Felix Rosenquist. That is getting long. And just like that, Graham Rahal in the Fleet Cost and Care Honda has led 10 laps of the XPEL 375. The 2016 winner of the race here, and it's one of the closest finishes you'll ever see. James Hinchcliffe in the gold car there almost got him on the line. The victory, 0.008 of a second. For Graham to win here in the most spectacular style. Is he going to be able to do it today? I'm not sure. Scott Dixon, Pato O'Ward, they're keen to be with him, and then you've got the story about fuel. Do you have enough? Are you giving the team the fuel number they need to get you where you need to be?
Hey, Marty, lap 151. I've got the go-home lap at around 186. Does that sound right?
Yeah, you would want to be with about 65 to go, 60 to go. 60 to go would be better. And Townsend, this one thing to calculate it off of the fuel It's another thing to calculate it off of the tires. Remember, these teams have not been able to make tires last that long, so that's the biggest key. Can you make your tires last as long as your fuel would?
Well, Dixon's been the guy to make the tires last, but Paul, last night he did it in the lead. It's a lot easier to make tires last with few errors. Dixon goes to the front.
Dixon comes back, makes a nice clean pass back for the lead. So a little bit of racing going on. These guys are all packed up. They're all trying to make a number here. So look at the field. It's all just kind of packed up, and the further back you sit here, the better fuel mileage you get.
From first to 15th is 5 seconds.
Tell you who I'd like to look up a little further back is Felix Rosenquist. As we show you on the left-hand side of your screen, drivers who have won on the same track back-to-back, what they have done, and they just happen to be in the mix here. Here's Rosenquist, the Swedish driver. He almost won this race last year, crashed out with 10 laps to go while hunting his then teammate Scott Dixon down. The Mission Foods onboard show you how well he's doing, and Rosenquist has just chipped away at it. He runs in 6th place right now. There's his teammate, third car in shot, the Arrow McLaren SP Chevrolet. It's a couple of Hondas, 1 and 2. For those of you new to IndyCar viewing, there's just 2 engine manufacturers in the sport, Honda and Chevrolet. It's a fierce annual battle. Honda is the reigning manufacturer's champion, and Honda has won all 3 races thus far this year.
Track's pretty
Try map 8, and see if he follows us.
Track's pretty rubbered in now, Townsend, after the race yesterday. Had a little bit of rain last night, but nothing heavy. You see that black groove now. So it's allowing these guys to just kind of flirt like Pato O'Ward has done with that PJ1 right on the edge of it. Pato O'Ward still pressing. But I think right now he's kind of content to just sit here and wait this out.
Yeah, good coaching from the box. They know they've got to get a certain mileage to make it to that final stop.
All right, we're going to walk you through the field. Marty Snyder's going to kick it off. Take it away, Marty.
It is a game, and the radio airwaves are burning up. Lee, a moment ago, Mike Holscott told Scott Dixon, that's the number we need to make it to the end on one more stop. But then Dixon went to the lead and came back on the radio and said, can we make that same number in the lead? They said, let us watch what happens here over the next few laps. Meanwhile, Graham Rahal had the lead a moment ago. They told him, we need 2.9 on the fuel number. Graham tried it for 2 laps. He said, I can't make that leading, so he gave up the lead. Pato O'Ward sitting in 3rd, and yes, you guys are correct. Pato O'Ward happy to sit there. They keep preaching patience, and Pato will tell you this part of his game, saving fuel, not one of the things he's really good at. So he's sitting there in 3rd, happy for now, Dave.
Wow.
Marty, before the last pit stop, Will Powers, number 12, was a little bit free, but he said manageable, so no real changes to the 12 there. He's been given his fuel number. And by the way, the last time Texas ran a doubleheader, 2011, who won the second race? This guy, Will Power, Marty.
Joseph Newgarden sitting in the 5th position just asked his team, can we not do the fuel save on the next stop? They told him no, we have to save right here. So everybody kind of riding. Newgarden has had a terrific run today, sitting in the 5th position, having a solid afternoon, Dave.
Talking with Felix Rosenquist strategist Billy Vincent today, he said our balance last night was near perfect. Another good run today, but they had a bad pit stop last night that set them back in the field, and they never recovered their track position. Felix is doing well today, running 6th, Marty.
Simon Pagenaud sitting in the 7th position on the first stop of the day. They lost a little bit of time coming to pit road. Simon Simpson has kind of cleaned up the game on the pit road side, and the car has been solid, but like everybody else trying to meet a fuel number. Alex Blow has never really recovered from that one stop where they lost a little bit of time. He's now sitting in the 8th position. But you talk about the experience this young driver has gained. He has followed his teammate Scott Dixon for so many laps around Texas. When he goes to Indianapolis, he'll be much more prepared. And Colton Herta is in the 9th spot back there, guys, having a nice run in the 26 car, but frustrated with the fuel mileage game. I would assume, Townsend, if you're sitting behind the wheel and they're telling you to hit that number and you know you can go faster, it's not fun behind the wheel.
Well, you just have to buy your time, be patient, trust in the information that you're getting from the stand, as Graham Rahal is, Scott Dixon, and Pato O'Ward.
86 laps to go. Remember, you're going to see them hit somewhere in the 60s with, just over 60 laps to go. Who's going to come first? How's this going to shake out?
The key is going to be the undercut or the overcut. If these guys turn it up and run a little bit faster at the end of the run, or Pato, that like he did last night, dives in early. He's super fast through the warm-up lane and gets in and out and gets in some hot laps on brand new tires. You're going to see guys try to jump these guys because right now the pace has really slowed down.
Not sure that they're going to really be able to do overcuts and undercuts because everybody pitted under yellow, Paul. They're stretching it. I think everybody's going to pit right around the same time, but we'll find out when we come back.
We're going to get one of these classic Texas finishes if it's anything like this in the closing stanza of this XPEL 375. The XPEL 375 continues with 78 laps left to run. Welcome back, folks. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy, Marty Snyder and Dave Burns enjoying a beautiful Texas afternoon with quite the race. It had a spectacular start. 6 cars were knocked out of the race coming to the green flag in a spectacular multi-car pile-up. And there's been a couple of other retirees as well. Jack Harvey and James Hinchcliffe are also out of this race. So Tony Kanaan is the last on track. He's a couple of laps down in 16th place. At the front, it's Scott Dixon. Dixon has led now 150 laps, Marty, and Graham Rahal is shadowing him.
Yeah, Lee, this strategy is fascinating. About 12 laps before this window opens to be able to get to the end. And Scott Dixon just radioed in and had a concern saying, hey, I think out front we're just burning so much more fuel. The guys behind us are going to be able to go a lot quicker than we're going to be able to go. So Townsend, all of this conversation is about fuel. The one thing, though, I think teams and strategists are really thinking about are the tires. They have not run tires this far under these hot of conditions all weekend long. So what gives first, the fuel or the tires?
We're about to find out, Marty, and I think you make a great point. We're in uncharted territory in terms of the length of this stint in these temperatures.
Yeah, words of wisdom there, guys.
That's Scott Dixon asking for any words of wisdom there, guys.
Doing good here, Scott.
Think about this. It's only the 2 Honda guys out front that are talking about fuel. The behind, Award, Power, Newgarden, Rosenquist, Pagano, Chevy, 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 Chevy. I haven't heard anything about them talking about fuel mileage yet.
11 laps here.
11 laps to go for Scott Dixon.
That's lap 186. And I'll bet everybody's right around that lap. I don't think, because they stopped under the yellow and really had to stretch this stint, I just don't think the window opens up much in terms of stopping early and trying to put tires on and get to the front, Marty.
And Townsend, just to emphasize that point I made a moment ago, that is 6-time champion Scott Dixon asking for wisdom from the guys on the timing stand. That shows you how tenuous this situation is. Dixon's kind of saying, hey, I need a little help in here. Are we going to be able to do this? Are we not going to be able to do this? Mike Hull looking on, everybody furiously trying to figure out, can we make it on this one stop?
Well, everything will change, Townsend, if a yellow comes out. And when these guys come to pit under green, they're going to be really trying to hustle it on the warm-up lane. And there's a lot of marbles down there, down low now that collect on the apron, and it's super slippery when you're trying to really get around there quick. So you could easily lose it down there.
Meanwhile, look at Rahal kind of getting higher and higher in turn 2 behind Dixon. Watch this as they come through turn 2. Dixon the last lap. Rahal, he's right behind him there. He fades up a little higher. Just a few moments ago during the break, Rahal was on the radio saying, hey, I'm getting a little bit loose. So we're starting to get into the window on these tires that the drivers really haven't experienced at any point this weekend. And right now, Rahal's got to run, but he backs out of it.
Backs out. He's content to just save the fuel and wait for the pit stop. So this is all going to be about the in and the out lap and not making a mistake on pit road. You have something happen like what happened to Sato with the wheel nut, game over.
Guys, it's almost been 4 years since Graham Rahal has stood in victory lane. He is desperate for a victory. He's had to sit back and watch his teammate Takuma Sato win the Indianapolis 500, not once but twice. And he wants his shot at the big one, but he just wants a regular race win as well. It could be today.
Careful though, he's got Pato breathing right down his neck. Pato would probably like to just slot into second here and have a good shot at getting in and out.
Fleet Cost and Care on board gives us this view. Let's go for a full lap with Graham Rahal. Down the back straight, here we go.
One back, one back.
Very gingerly applying the throttle there. That's the sign of a car that's just kind of on the ragged edge, a little loose, so a lot of finesse from the right foot of Graham Rahal.
Looking at this colossal facility that is Texas Motor Speedway from Graham's view, I can't help but think about the unbelievable job that Eddie Gossage, the president of this facility, and his staff have done. Do you know, to date, fellas, they have conducted a mass vaccination site that has vaccinated 350,000 people here at Texas Motor Speedway. Last Tuesday, they did over 17,000 people in one day. So Eddie and your staff, well done. Great job.
Hey guys, I told Scott Dixon 2 more laps. I think Townsend, some teams are going to jump early for those fresh Firestones as soon as that window opens, which opens right now. They are worth 2 seconds a lap. So once you get them on, that lap time could be valuable.
Pagenaud's coming. Pagenaud's the first to get out there. And McLaughlin's here, Dave.
He is in, coming out from around the top 10 guys, and not as strong at the end, but maybe he can work his way up by the end of today's action.
McLaughlin would be happy with the top 10 today. He's been just hovering outside in 11th position for this whole last stint. So here we go. He's on his way home. His Team Penske teammate is coming your way, Marty.
Kyle Moyer said, we've got to try something here. He called Simon Pagenaud to pit road. Pagenaud running close to the top 5. Meanwhile, Rinus VeeKay just outside the top 10. You see him on the bottom of your screen. We'll see if this early move for the Firestones helps out. Scott Dixon will be pitting next lap from the lead.
These guys are going to all go as fast as they can now on fresh tires and try to make up some track distance on time. Dave.
Ed Carpenter is on the right strategy. He'll see if he can go 63 laps here to the end. The oval specialist. Oh, a little bit of a slow stop there, but he's on.
Slipped it in gear, Paul. Spun the rear tires on the jacks. And look at Rahal closes huge gap on the brakes to Scott Dixon.
Look at that gap close you guys mentioned, and these 2 pit stalls are right behind each other. They'll be able to watch their pit stops from where they're doing it. So Scott Dixon in front of Graham Rahal. They're running first and second. Dixon now can go as hard as he wants. The fuel in. The Speedway fuel. Rahal pulls out quick. Almost hits a Dixon crew member as he leads. Rahal getting every inch he can here on pit road.
Great stop from the Rahal Letterman guys, despite Graham kind of sliding in sideways. The front's locked up, and he was askew in his box, and here comes Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, this is the race right here, Marty, right here, this car.
Coming in from third, Pato O'Ward, who feels like he has a car that could possibly win the race. We'll see what happens here. The fresh Firestone's going on. A quick stop by the Arrow McLaren SP guys. Let's see where he cycles out with Dixon and Rahal.
60 miles an hour to the line, now 90 miles an hour on the pit speed limiter. It'll feel awfully slow for Pato O'Ward as these 2 cars battle for the lead. Graham Rahal to the high side.
This is the fight for the lead right here, but Pato O'Ward is right at the pit exit. He's all the way out on the back straightaway now. Is he up to speed? Here he is. Look, he's got it up front.
Got it. He goes to the lead. Rahal and Dixon are at speed. How quickly will Graham Rahal catch the youngster?
Real fast, Lee. That's how fast Graham Rahal catch Pato. Graham Rahal's got a boatload of speed packed into that number 15.
So the overcut worked to perfection. A fast in-lap on the warm-up lane, a fast pit stop and getting out. Jump Pato O'Ward from third to first. But now the race is on for the last 60 laps.
Let's keep an eye on Joseph Newgarden as well and how it works for him. There's Pagenaud in the background. And we've got a caution. We've got a caution.
Oh, this changes everything now.
Yellow.
What's it for?
No more worrying about fuel now.
Oh no, it's Rosenquist.
Loose wheel, back wheel is gone.
No wheel. Here, just kind of trying to hang on to it. No
Everybody
run,
hustling those pit stops. And
question is, where's that rear? There it is over in turn 3. Luckily, out of harm's way now, because that can be a disaster.
And Rosenquist was leaving pit road. He radioed to his team, sorry guys, my bad. So something happened down there that may have been a contributor to this.
So Arrow McLaren SP all over the place. One car in trouble, one car at the front of the line.
Stalled it. Got it refired.
Still a lot of race here. Still a lot of race here.
So guys, while all of that frantic activity was going on, a couple of laps after Patho O'Ward stopped. This man here stopped, Joseph Newgarden, and he is ahead of them all. He pitted on lap 189 and has worked his way to the front with some masterful strategy from Tim Cindric. How about that? The 2019 winner of this race. He did it in fine strategy style there, and that man may have just called a race-winning strategy. So, while we're under our third full-course caution here, third caution period, I should say, let's show you what's coming up tonight. It is the same-day delay coverage in MotoGP, the Grand Prix of Spain. I won't give away the race result if you haven't been checking social media and you've recorded it or you're going to watch it. Let me just say there is a fresh winner. That's as far as I'll go. Then we've got an encore presentation of Monster Energy AMA Supercross. It was a big championship night last night, the finale. That's well worth a watch as well. And then American Flat Track coming your way as well. So as we went to the break, Marty, I said Tim Cindric may have just called a race-winning strategy. What does he say?
Well, he did that in 2019 as well, pitting Joseph Newgarden. Had some fresher tires at the end of the race. So Tim going 2 laps longer there puts you in a pretty good spot here. How do you feel about that, even though Sato's going to stay out here with the move there?
Yes, this restart will certainly be interesting. I'm not sure exactly where it's all going to shake out, but obviously, you know, we stayed out there a lap or two before those guys, but I think you'll see a race now.
Was the decision to go a little bit longer to have better fuel at the end, or what was that decision?
It was twofold. It was to have better fuel, and we thought we could get more track position if we were able to go hard on that last lap.
So there you go, Joseph Newgarden now in a very good spot, sitting there in second, and they're kind of wondering how long Takuma Sato can go. That's going to be the interesting part of this restart.
Well, I just got a note from an engineer who said that for Sato to stand a chance of being able to stay out there, he needs 17 laps of yellow, so that's not going to happen for the reigning Indianapolis 500 champion.
Lee, I think we've already had that caution, and that was on the original get-go, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Probably not for Takuma, but they told him go hard. I think the strategy from here would be if he can be late in the race when everyone wants to pit for tires, everyone that is behind him now, they can all come in at the same time if they get that caution. But it's a long shot, but Takuma Sato right now out front is going to run hard laps. I think they're going to be probably 10 laps short. They were more like 20 because he put it on lap 166 when it was going green. So he'll try to save as much as he can under caution, but when it goes green, he's going.
So have a look at that pit stop graphic on the left-hand side of your screen. You hear Townsend and Paul often talk about the undercut or the overcut. Newgarden did the overcut. He stayed out later. He pitted 2 laps after O'Ward, 3 after Rahal and Dixon. Stacked up, packed up, ready to go racing. It's Sato at the front. Tony Kanaan's in the mix, but you're looking at the yellow and white car for Joseph Newgarden. That really is the effective leader.
Nice move by Newgarden to get by that car. Now he can just concentrate on Sato. There's no real fuel issues anymore, Townsend.
Oh, Dixon pops out. Pagano pops out to block Colton Herta. Herta's coming through and forces Will Power way up high where there's no grip.
Will Power loses a bunch of spots. He's still up there in the grade trying to keep it out of the wall, and he brushes the wall. Now you can see how little grip that PJ1 has. Once he was up there, he couldn't even get the car down.
Oh.
You okay?
Ron Rzuski says you're okay. I think he's just feeling how the car feels.
Yeah, a lot of vibration. I think we have damage.
I think Power's going to be heading to the
Just be pick up on tires, Will. We'll feel it out for a lap.
Feel it out for a lap as Joseph Newgarden zeroes in on Takuma Sato, who will need to dive for the pits. There's Rosenquist circulating slowly. His problems continue. What a shame, because he was having a good run in the top 10.
Make a fuel number if you're just hanging out here. If you get a run at him, take it. If not, we'll have more fuel for later.
Cindric says if you get a run at him, take it. But otherwise, just sit here and save some fuel.
You don't want to sit and get slowed down too much with that young Tiger right behind you. Pato O'Ward could make a move on you.
Well, not only that, Newgarden knows that just a couple cars behind, Rahal and Dixon linger. They lurk, waiting for an opportunity. Those are the 2 strongest cars tonight.
Season opener at Barber Motorsports Park saw Joseph Newgarden have a very rare and odd incident as he rounds up Takuma Sato. That's tight, but that is a slick move.
He gave him nothing but a paper to slip in between those 2 cars. And then look at Pato O'Ward now going to go for the high side, but he gets stuck.
Be patient here, Pato. You don't have to make it happen all right now. Newgarden's going to be up there just getting his fuel number, so don't force it on Sato if it's not there.
Well, he got it now, but
Outside,
this was an all-Honda show for the longest time at the front.
Great job,
now,
dude. Stick with
we got
Newgarden
two
here.
Chevys up front.
Stick with Newgarden.
Stick with Newgarden is the call for Pato O'Ward. Oh, look at this, Rahal on the inside of his teammate, and that aids him. It hurts Dixon.
Dixon has a run now. Dixon will get his turn on Sato, or sorry, on Kanaan. And here comes Colton Herta, the hard charger, just a couple laps ago, ready to make moves.
22nd in the first race. He won last weekend in St. Pete. He finished 22nd last night. He's in the mix here in the XPEL 375 is Colton Herta.
Making bold moves. His move, Townsend, is always down the inside, below the white line. He does that all the time. And look at power.
Colton Herta was my pick on PointsBet too. Remember, this guy was 20-1 odds. 3 wide into turn 3 at this track right now with that PJ1 is impossible. No way power could do anything here except hold on and just try to nurse it through. He almost made it without hitting the wall.
He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That was unfortunate for the Verizon Chevy driver. Meanwhile, up front, look how close Pato O'Ward is getting. It's only, what is it, 0.4 of a second between Joseph Newgarden and the Arrow McLaren SP driver, the 21-year-old Mexican.
Exactly what we need you to do here right now. Let's just chill behind Newgarden for a little bit. He hasn't been super strong over the long run, and he struggles like hell on 1-2. So let's just sit here. We'll attack him
That's real
when we
good
can.
advice, because that is an absolute fact. The longer the tires went, Townsend, he has struggled towards the end of the run, and Pato's been coming on strong.
I don't know how much Newgarden actually struggled, Marty. You've been listening to the radio for Newgarden. Last time he radioed mid-stint, he said his car was solid. Do you think Newgarden has the pace to make it happen down the stretch here?
I think he does, and I think that's a little coach speak from Taylor Kyle to his young driver, Pato O'Ward, trying to make sure he stays in the game here. Tim Cindric keeps telling Joseph Newgarden, save me some fuel so we have it for the end and we're good there. And also be aware of your tires. Don't slide them. Take care of them. We want them to last this whole run. So I think Newgarden, as much as O'Ward is hanging out, Newgarden's doing the same thing.
So you've got a two-time champ leading a guy in his second full season in the NTT IndyCar Series who is desperate for a race victory. He's a champion in his own right. He won the Indy Lights Championship a couple of years ago. And then in 2019, he had a kind of all-around-the-world adventure in IndyCar, in F2, in Europe, Japanese Super Formula. He was everywhere. And then he had a settling year last year in his first full season in the series and really made a great new home at Arrow McLaren SP. He is full of energy. He's a vivacious, just a character. He's a great kid to be around. You can't help but be enthusiastic and energized when you're around Pato O'Ward, and a win would do wonders for his career, Marty.
So much fun to watch and to be around Lee, and he is terrific for the IndyCar Series. And he told me before the season, we want to take that next step. We want to show this paddock we are going to be week in, week out contenders. And if you really go to the first race of the year at Barber, they had the best car, didn't win the race. Tonight, when many people did not think that they would really be a contender for the win, even though they finished on the podium yesterday, they are showing they are indeed going to be that team that's going to be a factor week in and week out in this series.
Well, the 2 of Newgarden now is slid up into third into the points, so that's good recovery from him from 2 good nights so far. Pato O'Ward has now moved up into 4th in the championship, and Graham Rahal is now 5th.
There goes the MyJack Honda of Sato. He finally had to, he had no choice, he had to come to the pit. So his teammate Graham Rahal, as Paul was just talking about there, he's in the blue and white Fleet Costin Care Honda. He's moved up to 3rd in the race, and he's starting to edge a little closer to O'Ward. Don't discount Dixon either. And then it's Herta Pagano, Alex Palou, McLaughlin's up to 8. VK is in the top 10, and so too is Ryan Hunter-Ray. With 35 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Are we on our way to getting a 4th different winner this season from the first 4 races? Phenomenal variety.
Let me know when I can turn up.
Doing what you're doing.
Now the Newgarden saying, let me know when I can turn it up. So you know he's riding right now, and Tim Cindric saying, not yet, big guy. Let's hang out right here.
Joseph hated what happened at Barber Motorsports Park when he made a very rare and unforced error and crashed spun in front of the field. Brought a lot of cars with him. He hated that. It's very uncharacteristic as O'Ward gets close. Then he bounced back, had a terrific St. Pete where he finished second. He said, I was looking at the opportunity to get by Colton Herta. Herta never gave me an opportunity to get that victory, so I didn't settle for second. I knew that that was the best that I could do on the day. Last night, he had an awkward incident with Sebastian Bourdais when Herta checked up in front of Bourdais. He hit the Frenchman, sent him into the wall, got a penalty for avoidable contact, but then came back for a really good 6th place finish. And so this is kind of characteristic Joseph Newgarden. He's now led 17 laps in this race and is looking strong.
Townsend, I believe that Pato has the best car in the field right now. He just hasn't been able to get to the point at the sharp end here. So I believe right now that he's probably got the strongest car.
He might, but just behind him, Graham Rahal is awfully close to Pato O'Ward. And Graham, remember, taken out in the accident with Alexander Rossi at St. Pete. But prior to that, had a great run at Barber, and we're coming into the month of May at Indianapolis, and Graham was super quick at the Indy GP and the fastest car at the test at Indy. And Paul, as you said earlier, Graham Rahal sits 5th in the championship if they finish like this right now. So Graham Rahal could really come out of here with a terrific result and a run at the championship this year.
Tony Kanaan here just still struggling to stay on, go around and get this thing to the finish. That car was involved in the accident early in the race. They fixed it, and he's just trying to hang on here and get this thing to the finish line.
Which is a bummer because TK was fast yesterday. He was the fastest in the only practice session, the only car in the 220 mile an hour average lap speed range. And he drove to a really good 11th place finish last night. So that damage early on coming to the green flag has hurt the American Legion Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing, the 48. So the Chip Ganassi guys were super busy last night, changing it from Bryant colors to the American Legion colors. So 2 different liveries, 2 different wraps for the doubleheader weekend here in Texas. And I want to give a shout out to the crews who have been working incredibly hard. 3 race weekends in a row, including a doubleheader, and leading into the month of May. To all the men and women of the race teams in this NTT paddock, well done. Great 3-week stint. You've earned your weekend off next weekend before we launch full on, head on into the month of May. 27 laps to go here in Texas. Who's going to win this one? Pato O'Ward hopes it's going to be him. What does he say on the radio?
Patience here, dude. Have patience. We've got just ride with Newgarden. Give us as much fuel as you can. And protect against Rahal. It's a 3-dog race right now. Stay focused.
If that's the case, Paul, I don't think Pato O'Ward needs to be as close as he is right now, because that's just going to make him use up his tires. What he needs to do is just sit back and save the tires. If, in fact, the team wants him to get the fuel mileage, no use in burning up your tires right now. And we've seen this from O'Ward in a couple of other races, like at Barber, where he's been really aggressive. So I think part of the patience message is back up enough to keep some clean air on your car so you can keep the rubber under you for the end.
Yeah, he's looking high, low for any kind of action. He's got a nice run here coming off of 4. I think he's going to take it, Townsend.
So much for patience.
Here we go. Here we go. No. Newgarden hangs tough.
Clear about 2.
If that's patient, what is go for it at the end going to look like?
Ninja. That's what it looks like. Here we go, inside. He tried the outside, down into 3. Pato O'Ward is the race leader.
And that's it. He's now out front for the first time today. And like I said, I believe he's got one of the strongest cars there is.
Could this be the moment that he has been waiting for, in his mind, far too long? 23 laps left to run here in Texas around this 1.5 mile oval. And Pato O'Ward could be a first-time IndyCar race winner. His teammate suffered some misfortune with a right rear coming off, bouncing around, and Rosenquist had to return to the pits. That was the cause of our third and most recent caution period. Meanwhile, this Arrow McLaren SP Chevy is singing out front.
Want to take a closer look at what the
Gray
comparative handling might look like, Paul, as we watch the hands here. Pato Award on top, Joseph Newgarden on the bottom.
Grade 3 on the back. Grade 3 on the back.
A little more movement out of Pato Award steering. It looks like Joseph Newgarden hands are a little quieter. But very similar balance between those two cars.
Oh, look at the gap, though. Pato Award has been right on the back of somebody all night long, and now he's kind of checked out on Newgarden. So he's got a nice little gap he's built up, but the mileage is going to be the issue as the laps start winding down now. But it's going to take a little bit to claw that gap back if you're running flat out, Townsend. You know how it is here. It takes quite a few laps to close that gap down.
The other thing that's changing is the shadows, and with shadows comes cooler temperatures. Dave Burns, it was 118 degrees when this race started, now down to 99. Surely you can probably feel that on pit lane. Maybe Marty can.
I can, yes, it is cooling down for sure, and that's going to create a little bit more speed, and that's what Joseph Newgarden's camp is telling him about the 5 car. Remember that he pitted 2 laps before us, so they have 2 laps less fuel than Joseph Newgarden has, even though they spent some time under caution. Remember, everybody trying to save every bit of fuel they could for the end, so I don't think this is over yet, guys.
Does O'Ward have enough? You heard the voice of Taylor Kyle, the president of Arrow McLaren SP, saying, you know, be patient, give us the fuel we need. There was Tim Cindric, president of Team Penske, guiding Newgarden with less than 20 laps to go. There's Taylor. Relatively young man to be in a position like that. He is a smart young man who has a very calm demeanor over the radio and guides his drivers very well. You know who's watching keenly from the UK? That'd be Zach Brown, CEO of McLaren Racing. Big day in Formula One, and he's keeping an eye on IndyCar and his 2 guys in IndyCar as well. Can his young star drive to victory lane? 16 laps to go. O'Ward is getting closer and closer and has a 1-second advantage over Newgarden.
Getting pretty strung out, Paul. Yes. O'Ward really showing the pace of that car. I mean, spent all of last night in dirty air, and this is his first chance to see what it can do.
Yeah, but does he have the fuel? That's the big question mark. He's got the speed, but does he have the fuel?
So there's a pretty decent carrot dangling for this young man. And that was from one of his bosses, one of his 3 bosses, that's Zach Brown. If he wins an IndyCar race, he'll get rewarded.
So I got an idea. Yeah? What's your idea? You've already had a 3rd. You've already had a 2nd. So if you win one, I talked to Andreas. We put you in the F1 car at the end of the year after Abu Dhabi.
Let's go.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to earn it.
Yes, I will get you your win.
I have no doubt.
Hopefully multiple wins. That'll be good.
Deal?
Deal.
Deal.
So F1 test on offer for Pato Award if he can win his first IndyCar race. I went straight to Zach Brown at Barber when I heard about that. And I said, hey, Zach, how about getting Lando Norris into the Indy 500 if he wins the Formula One race? And he just got a big grin and said, wheels are turning, my friend. Wheels are turning.
Well, guess what? I can tell you right now, Lando is with Zach. They're watching in Europe right now. We'd love to have you in IndyCar one day, Lando. That'd be pretty neat to see you at the 500. But right here, right now, the business at hand is getting this 21-year-old Mexican to victory lane. He is 11 1/4 laps away from that victory lane, Marty. This would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I was going to say that F1 test is about 11 laps away for Pato Award. Just asked Taylor Kyle a moment ago. I said, are you worried about the fuel? He said no. I said, are you holding him back at all? He said no. So it's full green for Pato Award. Let's see if the fuel holds out for his first win.
Oh, he's got a nice gap, Townsend.
10 laps to go at the line. 10 to go at the
10
line.
laps goes by real quick here. Look at that gap. He is long gone. And they have left the rest of them. Rahal, Dixon, Herta, all those guys still trying to save fuel. So
there you see the gap growing. Talk about a perfect scenario, perfect data. That's what you want to see as a young driver. That's what you want to hear over the radio. There it is.
1.5.
The gap grows.
Keep looking after the car, buddy.
What a day this would be. In the Portuguese Grand Prix earlier this morning, Lando Norris drove to a fine 5th place. On this side of the pond, Pato O'Ward could go to victory lane. Dave?
And Lee, not forgetting about another young driver this weekend who is showing what he can do on the ovals. He never raced on ovals before, but Scott McLaughlin having another strong run in 8th position. The car has been good. This rookie is the only registered rookie of the year who is running all the races, and McLaughlin is a sponge for learning. He soaked it up this weekend, a 2nd last night, and a top 10 it looks like for him today, Lee.
What a solid weekend. Unbelievable. First ever New Zealand 1-2 in IndyCar history last night with Dixon leading McLaughlin home, and then to come home with another top 10. McLaughlin would see himself in a really good position in the championship heading into the month of May at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The kid from Monterrey, Mexico. This would be something special. Indy Lights champion in 2018. He won 9 races there. He won plenty in sports cars too, but he is desperate to be an IndyCar race winner. Well, Paul, we've known this kid since he stepped into the IndyCar ranks, and he was welcomed. He has dazzled us. He's wowed us with some spectacular drives. The way that he's driven today, he deserves to be a winner.
Absolutely. Super energetic kid, a lot of personality, and now 2nd in the points to Scott Dixon. So he's been knocking on the door, Townsend, for a long time for a win, and today he's kicking the door down.
5 laps to go.
Still 5 laps to go.
5 more good laps.
7.5 miles here in Texas. I love the way O'Ward has put himself in this situation. In a race where we've talked a lot about saving fuel, O'Ward has, in a sense, ignored most of that advice and aggressively gone after the lead, the clean air, and now has the pace to keep pulling away from a 2-time champion in Joseph Newgarden.
4 laps to go. That's it. We are looking at a 4th different winner from the 4 races thus far. A phenomenal start to this 2021 NTT IndyCar season. Guys, remember, let's go back to the early phases of the race at what this young man did. Remember when he was trying to get past Will Power? Remember when he went down onto the apron? And the hands were just going like lightning. It could have all ended right then and there, but it didn't. He's resilient, he's tough, he's a boxer, he's a fighter, and he's showing us that right here today.
And whether it's on a road course like Barber Motorsports Park to start the season or on a high-speed oval like here at Texas, Paul, this young driver just seems so comfortable to ride the ragged edge. He's just happy when it's perfectly balanced, if not slightly loose. It doesn't bother him one bit.
Yeah, when he crashed at Indy, remember, he was pretty cavalier about it, like it was no big deal, but he drives the wheels off the car, and today, again, he drove the wheels off the car. It was nearly disaster in turn 3 and 4, with nearly losing the car, but he's bringing it home in the winner's circle. Take us away, Lee.
Oh, this is phenomenal. It has been a long time since a Mexican driver drove to victory lane in IndyCar Series competition. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was Adrian Fernandez a long time ago. But Pato O'Ward, Mr. Energy, Mr. Fast Hands.
Go, baby.
Oh boy, O'Ward! Pato O'Ward is an IndyCar winner!
Nice job at the hometown race, baby. Nice work.
And the hometown race. We forgot to mention.
Whoa! Finally. Isn't that tremendous? For Patricio
Let's go, baby.
O'Ward.
You can do some donuts. Just take care of that, baby. That's our Indy motor. Nice job, dude. Nice job to the boys.
I would not
nice
be doing donuts on the Indy motor, that's for sure.
He gave him permission.
Congratulations to Sam Schmidt, Rick Peterson. There's Rick, Taylor Kyle on the right, and Zach Brown, the 3 guys that lead this team, and they are now winners.
That's how it's done, boys. Woo-hoo.
Don't get stuck.
Oh, dude, donuts in the grass. Nice work. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment, your first win, dude. Excellent job.
Fantastic. It's been a little while for Rick Peterson and Sam Schmidt as well. They last won in 2018, so this has been a win that's been coming for a long time. Remember last year, two off seasons ago, massive reorganization and getting McLaren back into IndyCar racing full-time for the first time since 1979. Lone Star JR is here, by the way. Johnny Rutherford within the team and watching and cheering this young man on.
And I thought it was pretty telling that the person least excited in that celebration was Taylor Kyle. And I don't mean to say he wasn't happy. He expects to win. Yep. He has led this organization to be heavily resourced to fight the best in the business, and they've pulled it off today.
And Arrow, as the primary sponsor and principal sponsor of the team, they had a 5-year plan. And that 5-year plan is coming to fruition about winning and being one of the teams to look at to be considered winners, not only of a race, but maybe a championship. And Pato Award has put himself into second in the championship with his first ever career victory. Congratulations to the 21-year-old Mexican. That was awesome. Quick reminder of what's coming up next. It's MotoGP, the Grand Prix of Spain. That's the same-day delay coverage. And then we've got an encore presentation of Monster Energy AMA Supercross, the championship finale from last night. And then AFT, American Flat Track from Atlanta. That's a little later at 10:30 Eastern. It's time to celebrate. It's time to party, Marty.
Pato Award, what an early birthday present. He turns 22 later this week. And now he's an IndyCar winner. You can see him soaking it in the car in what he considers his hometown race. Spent so much time in San Antonio. He wins at the Texas Motor Speedway. You gotta love it. The young 21-year-old taking the moment in. Wow, Pato, I gotta know the emotions as you cross the start-finish line for your first IndyCar checkered flag.
Oh, finally, man. Oh, that was a long race, but man, we had so much place in this. Our McLaren SP number 5. I gotta thank our electronics, Views, Team Chevy, Mission Foods, man, everybody in this team has been doing such a good job. And we bounced back from last weekend. We got a podium yesterday, we had pace, and we got the job done today, man. I couldn't be happier for another group of guys.
We have seen your outstanding speed since you were a young man at road and street courses, but did you think the first IndyCar win would come at an oval, Pato?
Honestly, no. But hey, I take it. It's Texas. It's very close to my heart. I've lived here for many years. Yeah. And many Mexicans were out there in the grandstand, so thank you guys so much. And so happy, man, finally.
you said before the season, I'm going to cause headaches for the guys who win all the time. Is this what you meant, Pato?
This is exactly what I meant, yes.
All right, and an early birthday present, too. Happy birthday.
Oh, yes, my birthday is in like 4 days or something. Thank you.
What a way to celebrate. Pato Award brings Arrow McLaren SP to IndyCar Victory Lane, Dave.
And Marty, he brings Chevrolet to Victory Lane for the first time in 2021. I thought it was going to be Joseph Newgarden doing that. What were you lacking at the end?
You know, I don't know what it was. It seemed like his Chevy was a little better than my Chevy for some reason. But at the end of the day, a Chevy won the race, so I'm pretty happy about that. Always have great support and fuel mileage. Fuel mileage was a big day, reliability, and Chevrolet is always top notch for those qualities. So happy with that. To get XPEL, you know, a good second place. I don't know that we can be disappointed, but you know, we were in the catbird seat there for sure. Just I didn't have the speed at the end. I don't know what it was. I knew it kind of middle of the race. I'd made a comment to the guys in the pits. I said, you know, we're lacking speed for some reason. So I don't know what was causing that. We'll figure it out. But we did a great job. I was really proud of the team. You know, they stuck to it, learned some stuff from Scott on his car, did a great job in the pits, and a second place. It's a good day for us.
Strong day for Joseph Newgarden.
I like the comment, his Chevy was better than my Chevy. Well, it's Chevrolet's first victory of this 2021 season. So good stuff for the bow tie gang. Let's look at the championship points. I mentioned just earlier that Award puts himself in a great spot, Townsend.
Yeah, up in second place. That is awesome. And Pato Award feeling strong, feeling confident, and showing the field that he was on another level today, really. Just happy to drive a loose race car and mix it up all day long. But how about Joseph Newgarden? I know he's a little bummed because he felt like he was right there to win today, but think about where he started this 21 IndyCar season, crashing on the first lap, taking out about a third of the field in the process. He's already back up to fourth in the championship. That's a great sign for Newgarden.
Who else catches your eye, PT?
Wow, nobody really on this list. It was another bad night for Felix Rosenqvist. Had the tire fall off. Hunter Ray wasn't on the pace, but man, sorry to keep harping on this, but you know, Rossi way down the list still, and still struggling to get good finishes. And tonight was really nothing of his doing, but the season is just not going well. 88 points behind, really far behind the 8 ball.
Here's an interesting one for you. We've had 4 different winners this year. As we mentioned earlier, 2 of them are first-time winners. So 2 of the 4 in Alex Palou, and today's winner from Arrow McLaren SP, Patricio, or more commonly known as Pato O'Ward. Look at that energy and enthusiasm. And his words, finally. He's an IndyCar race winner. We're not done yet. Back for more in a moment here in Texas. Yeah, looking forward to that. As much as Pato O'Ward's looking forward to this, a quick reminder, MotoGP's coming up when we're done here in just a few minutes' time, and then some Supercross, Monster Energy Supercross, followed by AFT, American Flat Track, a little later tonight. He's tired, but there's still energy to celebrate for Pato O'Ward, the winner of the XPEL 375. So let's take a look at the Children's Miracle Network moment of the race. And this was early on when he was fighting with willpower, and he was forceful. He showed us that he was ready to make moves. He got up into that slippery section. This was the defining moment, though, when he made the move into turn 3 on Joseph Newgarden and saw those checkered flags first, for the first time in his IndyCar career. To be the 4th different winner so far this year, which means, boys, we could go 5 for 5 in 2 weeks' time when we go to Indianapolis for the Grand Prix. Let's hear from Marty. Who you got, Marty?
Scott Dixon, who everybody coming into the race said, how are we going to beat Scott Dixon today? And he led the most laps, but I think at one point during the race I heard you say, boy, what a weird race this is. I mean, how was it from behind the wheel? Were you able to keep up with all that was going on?
Yeah, it was definitely very tough, you know, very confusing at some points. You know, nobody wanted to lead. You know, we got to a point there after that caution where we had to make a number, and you know, instead of where we'd be running 2:14s on average, you know, we're having to back it down to 2:04s, 2:03s. Graham kind of slowed us, I think, at one point below 200, you know, so we retook the lead, but we were just burning fuel, and that gave everybody else a bit more of an advantage. You know, Joseph got lucky with the caution in the pits, and you know, Pato did a good job, but huge congrats to Pato. You know, I was watching back from a few spots there, and what he did at the end was a tremendous drive, and especially over one of the best guys in the field. So huge congrats to him. Hopefully he calms down a little bit and doesn't make it too often, but I've got to say big thanks to everybody at PNC and on the crew. Terrific weekend for us, lots of good points. We're leaving here, you know, heading to the month of May, and Indianapolis leading the points, which is good, but it's going to be tough, man. A lot of hard work to come.
On the whole, terrific weekend for Scott Dixon. Leads the most laps today and won yesterday, standing right beside me, Dave Burns and Graham Rahal.
That's right, and a good weekend for Graham as well. Yesterday, 13th to 5th, and today, 9th to 3rd, Graham.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. The Fleet Caustic Hair boys did a great job. Awesome pit stop there, you know, to vault us up into the top 3. Last restart wasn't great. I don't know what happened. I didn't have it. You know, it was just super slippery, getting up to speed. Pato got by, and it hurt us a little bit. But, you know, the boys did an excellent job. It was fun to race with Dixie out there. It was fun to lead again. I thought it might be our day. Just got a little too loose. The last 2 stints, I got pretty loose. And it's just hard to challenge towards the end. But, you know, our boys did an excellent job. 5th and 3rd this weekend. Awesome points for us. Puts us back into the championship chase, and looking forward to it.
13 laps led today. A little momentum heading to Indianapolis, Lee.
Sure does, Dave. Graham is in the top 5 in the championship now, courtesy of that race. Need to show you a tweet that just has been posted. Check this out from the CEO of McLaren Racing, Zach Brown. A deal's a deal, Pato O'Ward. What a win. See you in Abu Dhabi later this year when he will test a McLaren Formula 1 car.
Man of his word, Zach Brown. That's awesome, T-Bell. That's a great day for Pato O'Ward.
Absolutely fantastic. And how exciting for all of us to know that this, the most exciting young driver in the sport right now, so much drama behind the wheel at any point of the race when he's driving, that we're heading the most important next few weeks on the schedule at Indianapolis. What can he do in the greatest spectacle in racing?
Well, confidence uber high, and he can kind of, in addition to the celebration, he can breathe a sigh of relief because he was getting so pent up about that. Sam Schmidt and Rick Peterson, co-team owners there on the right-hand side, coming on in as Colton Herter. That was his old teammate at Andretti Autosport. They fought and finished 1 and 2 in the Indy Lights Championship a couple of years ago. They're good mates. Colton knows what that's like. So 2 of the younger members in the sport have won over the past 2 weekends. That's pretty good. The future of this sport is in safe hands for sure. Safe and talented hands. Hey boys, real quick, did you have a fun day?
Absolutely. Can't wait for the next one.
Really good stuff. Paul, you have fun?
Oh, absolutely. Can't wait. It's the month of May, boys. It's Indy time.
It sure is. Coming up next, it's MotoGP. There's a weekend off on the IndyCar schedule. We'll see you at the Brickyard. It's the Grand Prix of Indy First, leading in to the greatest spectacle in racing. Thanks so much for watching IndyCars on NBC Sports.